Chapter 1941 Discuss with the Master. After another period of time, Yi Tian finally mastered 1 billion changes in the way of time, and obtained the change imprint of the way of time. In this way, every long period of time, Yi Tian will master more than 1 billion kinds of changes in one kind of Tao, and his own strength is constantly improving. However, he is still in the realm of the 10 realms level controller. Before you know it, hundreds of millions of years have passed. This day, Yi Tian's perfect body finally progressed again, from the realm of Shaocheng to the realm of Dacheng. The perfect body of the Dacheng realm is much stronger than the perfect body of the Shaocheng realm. Originally, Yi Tian wanted to cultivate a perfect body to the Dacheng realm, but he didn't know how many long years it would take. It was almost impossible to calculate, but now that he has obtained the perfect ancestor of swallowing the body, he can easily cultivate a perfect body to the level of perfection. Dacheng realm. And after the perfect body reached the Dacheng realm, Yi Tian's strength skyrocketed. In the dark, Yi Tian touched the boundary of the 10 realms, but he still hasn't reached it, which means that he can still improve his strength. However, his current strength is much stronger than in the past. If compared with the Black Mortal Controller, he can smash the Black Rotten Controller's body and kill the Black Rotten Controller with one blow. This is his current strength. Wanyuan Mountain. Yi Tian came here mainly because the 10 Elements ancestor informed Yi Tian to come here, mainly because he wanted to know about Yi Tian's progress. And after Yi Tian came, Xixing ancestor looked at it for a while, but was secretly surprised. Although Yi Tian is still in the 10th world level controller, he feels that Yi Tian's aura is terrifying, as if he is not much weaker than him. Is this still the 10 realm level controller? Teacher, your current strength is a little surprising to me. Are you interested in fighting against your teacher? 10 ancestral ways. Fight with master. Yi Tian was stunned, and immediately nodded slightly. That disciple offended, so he will fight with master. Somewhere in the time and space of Wanyuan Mountain, this place is enough to carry the battle at the level of the 10 elements ancestors. Yi Tian and Xixing Zhu came here. Teacher, let's go. 10 ancestral ways. He was very confident in his own strength and felt that no matter how strong Yi Tian was, he would not be able to threaten him. However, when Yi Tian made his move, Xixing Zhu's expression changed and his heart was quite shocked. Perfect body. Swallow the sky and fight. 1 inch. Yi Tian's combat power is fully open. After all, he is facing his master, the 10 elements ancestor, who has surpassed the great existence of the 10 realm level controller. What the strength is, he still doesn't know. Therefore, he would naturally not keep his hands, and use the strongest combat power to learn from his master. Void Eyes. This secret technique has no effect on his master. He is not surprised by this. After all, the virtual eye is only one of the secret techniques of the Wanxiang Linlong clan, and it does not exceed the category of the 10th world level at all, and naturally it does not threaten the 10th ancestor. Wandao Blade. Yi Tian held the sword of will and slashed at Xixing ancestor. With the perfect body of the Dacheng level and the body of swallowing the sky, the Wandao blade cutout is simply too terrifying. In terms of attack power, it has already reached the level of the 10-line ancestor. Shield of the 10 directions. Xixing ancestor was covered by a thin layer of light shield, and he suffered a blow from the Wandao blade. However, Xixing ancestor was still knocked into the air. Although he was not injured, it was enough to prove how powerful Yi Tian's attack power was. Crack. The shield of 10 directions shattered directly with a crisp sound. It broke my shield of 10 directions. Xingzu was surprised. His own 10 direction shield is also a perfect control skill that surpasses the top source control skills. Even if a group of 10 level masters attack his 10 direction shield, they cannot break the 10 direction shield at all. Now, he was smashed by his own disciple Yi Tian with one blow. Shadows of the 10 directions. 10 elements ancestor used another perfect control technique of his own and began to get serious. 10 figures appeared in the void, each with a combat power comparable to the body. Boom, time and space are shattered, and everything is dead. Yi Tian and Xixing ancestor kept fighting, destroying the time and space here again and again. Soon, Yi Tian was completely suppressed by Xixing ancestor. The main reason is that Yi Tian can't fight Xixing ancestor at all, and occasionally hits a shadow of Xixing ancestor, but it doesn't help at all. But, Yi Tian's defense is indeed very strong. With the perfect body of the Dacheng level and the swallowing body, the defense has surpassed Xixing ancestor. Therefore, even if Xixing ancestor's attack hit Yi Tian, there is no way to break Yi Tian. Defense. Therefore, Xixing ancestor at most slightly injured Yi Tian and could not seriously injure Yi Tian. Soon, Yi Tian still conceded. Without him, because he can't hurt Xixing ancestor, although Xixing ancestor is difficult to hurt him, but if he fights for a long time, the person who will lose in the end will still be him. Therefore, there is no need for him to stick to it deliberately, it is meaningless. Master, I admit defeat. Yi Tian said. Xixing ancestor said, it's a tie. I can't hurt you. If you really want to leave, I can't stop it. I didn't expect that you are only a 10-realm level controller, and you have risen to such a level. Disciple is just lucky, Yi Tian said modestly. Afterwards, the master and the apprentice sat down and chatted. Master, although my strength has been improving, I don't know much about the road beyond the 10th realm level, so I want to ask the master how to improve my strength after surpassing the 10th realm level. Yi Tian asked. At this time, Xixing ancestor said solemnly, your current strength is not weaker than mine, but you are also qualified to understand the things above the 10-level controller. Several of our controllers beyond the 10 level have been trying to create the next realm. I have also explored countless years and missed many paths. At present, there are several ways to continuously improve strength, such as breaking the shackles and chains, which is a newly discovered path. Furthermore, it is to master the changes of various ways. You should also know about 1 billion kinds of imprints. The second is to create perfect control skills to improve your own strength. Of course, these are all conventional means of improving strength, and they cannot help us open up the next realm. According to our calculations, if we want to open up promise money to the next realm, we must still start with the body and will in control. That is to say, we must break the shackles of the original body of control and the will of the metamorphosis realm and go beyond this realm to reach the next level. Beyond the will of the metamorphosis and the body of primitive control. Has anyone done it now? Yi Tian asked. Xixing ancestor shook his head, no one has done it yet, but the most likely person is the one who was in control of the beginning. His strength was the strongest among us at the beginning. If he is still alive, he may have reached this level. Level 1. But both must be broken through, in order to hope to reach the next level, otherwise it can only be regarded as a half-step breakthrough. Yi Tian was thoughtful. Afterwards, Yi Tian and Xixing ancestor exchanged their cultivation experience, and both of them gained something. Not long after, Yi Tian left and went back to continue practicing. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of millions of years have passed. This day, a figure continuously crossed time and space and came to the Sea of Origin. Chapter 1942. The Ancient Ancestor is back. This figure who came to the Source Realm Sea is impressively the Ancient Ancestor who has left the Source Realm Sea for endless years. For the first time, Xixing Ancestor, Primitive Old Ancestor, Jia Ancestor, Wu Self-True Ancestor and others sensed the arrival of Taichu Old Ancestor and appeared for the first time. In the beginning, the Old Ancestor wanted to go directly back to the Sea of Origin, but found that he could not enter, and was blocked outside the barrier of the Sea of Origin. Several old friends, why can't you enter the Sea of Origin? The Ancient Ancestor asked in doubt. Ancestor, in the very beginning, you haven't come back for too long, the Source Realm Sea has no way to enter, it repels those of us who are beyond the control of the 10-realm level. Xixing Ancestor explained. Understood. The Ancient Ancestor suddenly realized, it seems that the origin of the sea is more perfect. Ancestor, in the beginning, why did you come back? I thought you would never come back. The Ancestor was a little surprised. Ha ha ha, I have some big gains, and I'm back. The Ancestor of the very beginning said excitedly. Go to my primitive mountain, let's have a good chat. The original Ancestor suggested. It is good. The Ancient Ancestor nodded. Immediately, several great beings above the 10-realm level controllers went to the primordial mountain together, and then got together to chat about 983. Of course, they are all listening to the experiences of the ancestors in the very beginning and listening to the ancestors of the beginning. The Ancestor said, at the beginning, I felt that I had no future, so I went to the world to survive, looking for opportunities, constantly flying and flying, constantly searching in the depths of the world, and even getting lost many times, entering the inability to perceive the area of the range, and even experienced danger many times. Until one day, I sensed the fluctuations of a battle. Battle fluctuates. There were some guesses in everyone's heart, but they did not interrupt the story of the ancestors in the beginning. The Ancient Ancestor continued. I approached the place of battle, only to find that an extremely terrifying creature was fighting with a practitioner. What? A cultivator? Ancestor, from the very beginning, are you sure that you are a cultivator like us? Could it be a cultivator from our Source Realm Sea? Jizu said in shock. The Ancient Ancestor shook his head. It's not a practitioner of the Source Realm Sea. If it is an older practitioner in the Source Realm Sea, I don't know that I can't sense it. The breath of the other party is different from the aura of the source realm C, and the way of practice is also there is a difference. And the strength of the other party is very strong, even stronger than me. Could it be that the other party has reached another level, a new realm? 10 Ancestral Ways. CJFI. At first, I thought that the other party had reached the realm above the controller, but then I realized that the other party had not reached the new realm above the 10 realm controller. The ancestor said, I found he was very excited because of the cultivator outside the Sea of Origin. Although he didn't know the character of the other party, he still helped him and joined him together. This crushed the terrifying creature, and it took a long time to kill it. Later, I chatted with the other party, and only then did I know that the other party came from a place called Eternal Ruins. Moreover, the other party gave me the direction of the Eternal Ruins. Then, you went to the Eternal Ruins? The primitive ancestor was shocked. Yes, the ancestor said in the beginning. Afterwards, I went to the Eternal Ruins and saw a powerful place far beyond the Sea of Origin. Is it possible that the Eternal Ruins have a new realm of power above the 10-level controller? Ten Xingzhu asked excitedly. Yes, the ancestor said in the beginning. The ruins of eternity were the same as our original sea at the beginning, but they created a whole new realm, which they call the perfect controller. And we can only call it half the perfect controller. Perfect controller. The 10 elements ancestors are full of curiosity and longing. After all, they have been pursuing the realm above the eternal controller. Now that they finally know that they are the perfect controller, they are naturally excited. After all, they have a clear goal. In the beginning, on the ruins of eternity, what conditions do you need to meet to break through to the perfect controller? Asked the primitive ancestor. First, condense the perfect will. Second, form a body of perfect control, and the most important point is the third point, perfecting one's own way to the level of the perfect way. Not only that, but also the foundation is strong enough, and the combat effectiveness reaches a certain level. Only at this level can you break the shackles and become a perfect controller. The ancient ancestor explained. I see. Shi Xingzhu and others nodded again and again. At this time, the controller of the beginning continued. After I found the ruins of eternity, I continued to practice in the ruins of eternity and joined a force. After a long time, I came back and told you the news. Some information is passed on to you, so that you also have a clear understanding. With that said, the controller in the very beginning used his will to condense the information and transmit it to the 10 Xing ancestors. Soon, the 10 elements ancestors and the others had a clear understanding of the eternal ruins. In short, the ruins of eternity are very powerful, far beyond the Sea of Origin, and there are not only one or two perfect controllers of the ruins of eternity but many. For example, the force that the original controller joined has a perfect controller. I really want to go to the eternal ruins. It should be very far away from our source realm. Asked the primitive ancestor. It's really far away. The controller in the beginning nodded. However, there is also a shortcut to the eternal ruins. At the end of the world, there is a gap in time and space. The gap in time and space can allow us to cross an extremely long distance in an instant. And the origin of the sea, there are a lot of space-time gaps between it and the eternal ruins, and if we pass through the space-time gaps, we probably only need 1 billion years to reach the eternal ruins. 1 billion world river years, this is also a long time. 10 Ancestral Ways. The ancient ancestor smiled and said, this is very short. At the beginning, I traveled 3 trillion years in the world, and I was lucky enough to encounter the eternal ruins, and now 1 billion years and 300 billion are compared with the Jhe year, it is very short. That's true. The primitive ancestors nodded. At this time, the ancient ancestor suggested, I came back this time just to have a look, and let me tell you by the way, if you want to become the perfect controller, you'd better go to the eternal ruins, then you can hope to become the perfect controller. Otherwise, in the source realm sea, relying on your own exploration, you will take the wrong path if you are not careful. In addition, you should not expect to exist forever. Perhaps, you feel that in the source realm sea, you are almost invincible, and your life will pass. It is also very comfortable, then it is a big mistake. As far as I know, the Jhe disaster will break out every other period, and some extremely terrifying creatures in the Jhe will destroy everything. Jie does not have enough strength to protect himself, and maybe one day he will be trampled by an incomparably terrifying creature. When the ancestor of the beginning said this, the expressions of Xixing ancestor and the others changed. Indeed, some of them have given up on being the perfect master, and feel that it's fine to just go on like this. But if there is an external threat, if it doesn't grow, the future will eventually perish in such a crisis. Originally, I wanted to stay in the Sea of Origin realm for a long time, but I didn't expect that if I couldn't get in, I would stay here for a while. If you want to go to the Eternal Ruins, you can let me know. In addition, some maps will be left, and you can also go to the Eternal Ruins according to the map in the future. Quote. The ancient ancestor said, "Thank you," Shi Xingzu and others said. Chapter 1943 About to leave. 10 Elements Ancestors, primitive old ancestors, and Jia ancestors pondered for a long time, and most of them wanted to go to the Eternal Ruins. However, after they chatted with the ancestors of the very beginning, they knew that it would not work just to send the will clone over. Because the avatar of the will and the body must not be too far apart, the reason why those eternal masters of the source realm seek and let the avatar of the will roam in the world is because the places they can go are limited, so there is no need to worry about the distance between the avatar of the will and the body. Question. However, the ruins of eternity are too far away. If the will clone is allowed to go, I am afraid that the clone of the will collapse before reaching the ruins of eternity. In short, the ancestor of the very beginning tried to bring the will clone back, but the will clone collapsed on the way. Therefore, if they go to the ruins of eternity, they must go to the ruins of eternity with their true bodies. It didn't take long for the news of the ancestor's return to spread. The ancestor of the very beginning is back. Yi Tian was a little surprised. This one has been away for too long, and many people even feel that the ancestors in the beginning are either lost forever in the depths of the world, or have fallen. In short, the possibility of the ancestors coming back in the beginning is very low. Unexpectedly, the ancestor of the very beginning is now back, which is beyond everyone's expectations. And not long after, Shi Xing ancestor asked Yi Tian to go to Wanyuan Mountain again. Not only Yi Tian, several senior brothers of Yi Tian and senior sister Xuanu also came, and many official disciples of the 10 Elements ancestors came to Wanyuan Mountain one after another. Obviously, this time there is a big announcement, otherwise all the disciples above the official disciple will not come here. When all the disciples had arrived, the 10 Xing ancestor announced. Soon, Wanyuan Mountain will be completely closed. 10 Xingzu announced. What? All the disciples are stunned. Wanyuan Mountain is completely closed. What is the situation? Shi Xingzu continued. I called you here this time, one is to announce this matter, and the other is to give each of you one last chance. Master, why do you want to close Wanyuan Mountain all of a sudden? An official disciple wondered. You'll find out later. Shi Xing ancestor obviously didn't want to talk about it, so many disciples stopped asking. Subsequently, the 10 Elements ancestor has bestowed a lot of opportunities, and every disciple has it. And the controller of Zhongyu, the controller of the ancient demon, the controller of the Black Rotten and the controller of the Snow Girl also got a chance, only Yi Tian did not get a chance. After all, Yi Tian's strength is comparable to that of Shi Xing ancestor, and Shi Xing ancestor can't give him any chance. Subsequently, the 10 Elements ancestor let those formal disciples leave, leaving only a few direct disciples of Yi Tian. You should be curious as to why the master completely closed Wanyuan Mountain. Shi Xing ancestor said. A little curious indeed, the Black Rotten controller said. Shi Xing ancestor continued. Prepare for the teacher to leave the Sea of Origin, and follow the ancestors of the beginning to another world. Yi Tian moved in his heart and asked, could it be a world similar to the Sea of Origins? Good, Shi Xing ancestor nodded and said, the place to be for a teacher is called the Ruins of Eternity. The Ruins of Eternity is far more powerful than the Sea of Original Realms, and there are even powerhouses above the masters of the 10 realms, but it is not a teacher. This half-step transcendence is the real transcendence. Yi Tian was a little curious about the realm above the 10-level controller, and asked, Master, what is the realm above the 10-level controller? Perfect controller, 10 Xingzu said, the perfect controller, as expected. Ever since Yi Tian knew that there is a perfect level ancestry above the control ancestry, he wondered whether the higher realm would have something to do with the word perfect, and now it seems that it is. How powerful is the perfect controller? The Black Rot Master is full of expectations and desires. Shi Xing ancestor said again. Wei Shi wants to go to the Eternal Ruins to find a breakthrough path for the perfect controller, and Wei Shi can't enter the Sea of Origin realm now, so he is not going to stay here any longer, and will follow soon. The ancient ancestors passed by. Master, I want to go too, said the Black Rotten controller. Yes, Shi Xingzu nodded. Hey Shu, you can follow the teacher, but once you go, you must also go there, because it is too far away from the Sea of Origin and the will clone can't get there at all. The Black Rotten controller immediately said, Master, this disciple knows that I am willing to go with my body. Zhang Yu, Shui Nu, and the ancient demon controllers have no intention of going to the ruins of eternity for the time being. After all, their strength is too weak. If they go to the ruins of eternity, even the master will not be able to bless them. For flowers, after all, there must be a lot of beings stronger than the master, so they might as well stay in the source realm and practice silently, waiting for the day when the strength can no longer improve, or the strength is strong to a certain extent. It is not too late to go to the source realm. Yi Tian, are you going to the eternal ruins? Ten Xingzu asked. Of course to go, Yi Tian said immediately. A place like the ruins of eternity is not known to be much stronger than the Sea of Origin, and there are even perfect controllers. If you go to the ruins of eternity, it will naturally be easier to hit the perfect controllers. If he stays in the Sea of Origin, although he still has the hope of becoming the perfect controller, he is prone to take the wrong path, and the speed of cultivation is far inferior to that of cultivation in the ruins of eternity. Of course, he doesn't need his body, he just needs to copy his body. After all, his cloned body is not a clone of the will, the cloned body is also similar to the original body, and the clone talent is now promoted. Even if he goes to the eternal ruins, he can connect the two bodies. Then it's settled, Master, Yi Tian, Haixi, the three of us will go to the eternal ruins together. Shi Xing Ancestor said. On the other side, great beings such as Primitive Old Ancestor, Jia Ancestor, Wu Self-True Ancestor, etc. are also notifying their respective disciples and relatives that they are also preparing to go to the eternal ruins. Time passed slowly, and gradually, the countless eternal masters of the Source Realm knew that the great beings and some 10-level controllers were ready to leave the Source Realm. Immediately, they knew that the next Sea of Origin might usher in a new era, and the power structure would undergo certain changes. Finally this day, the ancestors of the very beginning informed the 10-line ancestors that it was time to set off for the eternal ruins. If you don't go now, you will go alone in the future. And if you go alone, if your strength is not good, it is very dangerous. On the way to the eternal ruins, there are also many dangers. Without the strength of a half-step perfect controller, you will fall if you are not careful. Whoa. In the end of the world, the ancestors of the beginning of the world, the ancestors of the 10 lines, and others gathered together one by one. They are about to leave. Chapter 1944. Hurry up, Vain Snake. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. There are a total of 6 10-realm level controllers who went to the eternal ruins this time. The ancient ancestor looked at the crowd and said, "Everyone, let's go, although you all have a map, but some places are still very dangerous. If I lead the way, it will be safer." Then Lao Taichu's ancestor will lead the way. 10 ancestral ways. Walk. Everyone walked away one by one. The speed of these 10 world-level controllers is very slow, and it is impossible for the ancestors to travel at the speed of the Black Rot controllers. How many years will it take to reach the eternal ruins? Hey Shu, don't resist, I will take you around for the teacher. 10 ancestral ways. Thank you Master, the Black Rotten controller hurriedly said. Yi Tian, how about you, can you keep up? Shixing Zhu asked. Although he knew that Yi Tian's 983's combat power was very strong, not much weaker than him, but rushing and strength were not the same. The half-step perfect controller's rushing speed was very fast, far from being comparable to the 10-level controller. Master, don't worry, I can keep up, Yi Tian said. Immediately, Yi Tian cast an instant shadow, easily keeping up with the half-step perfect controllers of Shi Xing Ancestor. Perfect control skills. In the beginning, the ancestor looked at Yi Tian who was constantly traveling, almost keeping up with the speed of these half-step perfect controllers, and without the help of any half-step perfect controllers. You must know that they have crossed an incomparably long distance every moment, and the 10-realm level controllers simply can't keep up with their speed. And Yi Tian used a perfect control technique to keep up with their speed. A perfect control skill for rushing on the road is nothing. The ancestors of the early days have a lot of knowledge, so they are not surprised, but a 10-level master can have a speed comparable to theirs with the help of the perfect control skill, which is terrifying. This 10-realm level controller is not easy. In the beginning, the ancestor secretly said. And the Black Rotten controller is also extremely shocked. The speed of the younger brother Yi Tian is so fast, he can keep up with the speed of the master. How strong is the younger brother now? The Black Rotten controller is extremely curious. Shuttle. The speed of the crowd was extremely fast, and they crossed one area after another in the boundary of the world. After about 6 million years of the boundary river, they finally came to the space-time gap closest to the source boundary sea. Entering this void of time and space will bear enormous pressure. Without the strength of a 10-realm level controller, it is unbearable. You must be protected by a half-step perfect controller before you can pass. 1. Taichu Patriarch explained. Space-time void. Yi Tian is also the first time to see the gap between time and space. After all, he has never come to such a distant world before. After all, at his current speed, he has traveled through 6 million years of the world river. What kind of concept is this? At the beginning, the place that allowed him to obtain the golden fruit, at his current speed, only took hundreds of years to do it. Therefore, the distance from the Sea of Origin realm can no longer be measured by distance. It is too far away, and it is an area that ordinary 10-realm level controllers can almost never reach. Let's all enter the void of time and space. The places where the void of time and space can pass are fixed, and through this void of time and space, we will save endless years of rushing time. The ancient ancestor said. Immediately, everyone stepped into the void of time and space in an instant. Boom! The endless pressure came, and the faces of the Black Rot Masters changed slightly. Obviously, the pressure here made them very uncomfortable. But the 10 Elements ancestors and the others were very indifferent, as if ignoring the pressure here. And Yi Tian is the same, completely ignoring the pressure here. Time passed slowly, and after a full 100,000 years in the gap of time and space, it came out from the gap of another time and space. Go, move on, we need to rush to another space-time gap, although we will detour a bit, but with the space-time gap, we can save infinite years of time. Taichu Ancestor said. In this way, the ancestors of the beginning of time took everyone to shuttle in the world. And here is too far from the Source Realm Sea. Even if the 10-realm level controller leaves an incarnation in the Source Realm Sea, the incarnation there will collapse and cannot be maintained at all. The induction between Yi Tian and the body still exists, although he knows it is far away, but the copy talent after promotion is extremely powerful, so he can connect the connection between the body and the copy body, but the information transmission will take some time. Unknowingly, the years of 100 million world rivers have passed. This day, they came to an area, and the ancient ancestor stopped and did not continue to shuttle. Attention everyone, it's dangerous here. The ancient ancestor said. Very dangerous. Can you go around? Shixing Zhu asked. No, the ancient ancestor said. A space-time gap is surrounded here, and here is a large-scale space-time gap. If you pass from here, you can save 1,000 trillion years and years. It can be said that from the Sea of Origin realm to the most important space-time gap in the ruins of eternity, if you go around it, you have to slowly travel to another space-time gap, which will take 1,000 trillion years of the world. Are you willing to spend more time? Single quote. 1,000 trillion boundary years. Don't say that the Black Rotten is in control of him. The years of their billions of world rivers. Will there be any danger? In case of encountering a terrifying creature comparable to the perfect controller, they will be wiped out. Old ancestor, what is the danger here? Asked the primitive ancestor. This is the territory of a special world river creature, called the illusory snake. This special creature is very powerful. Among them are 3 illusory snakes that are comparable to the half-step perfect controller. There is a conflict with them, but this time you are bringing several 10-realm level controllers, and you must protect their safety. The snake of nothingness has a false eye, which can directly kill the will of the 10-realm level controllers. If it is strong, if you are weak, you will be instantly killed by one move. The ancestor of 5.8 in the beginning reminded. As soon as they heard this, the faces of the Black Rotten Masters changed. Let's protect them with our will, let's just rush over. 10 ancestral ways. It is good. The primitive ancestor nodded. After all, he also brought his son, the original controller, this time, and naturally he didn't want his son to have an accident. Therefore, he blessed his own willpower on the original controller to ensure that the original controller would not be killed by the illusory eye. Rush. In the beginning, the ancestor took everyone into the territory of the illusory snake. At this moment, in the depths of endless time and space, a head of illusory snakes emerged, each with gray eyes. They saw the ancestors of the very beginning and others, and launched an attack directly. Chapter 1945 Arrive at the Ruins of Eternity. Boom. The attack of the illusory snake fell on Yi Tian and the others, and the 10 Xing ancestors of the half-step perfect controller resisted these attacks, and Yi Tian did the same. Yi Tian didn't rely on the will of the other half-step perfect controllers to bless him, and just relying on his own strength, he resisted abruptly. However, there are too many false snakes here. The ancestors said that there were only a few illusory snakes comparable to the half-step perfect controller, but who knows how many delusional snakes are comparable to the half-step perfect controller. If the information goes wrong, they are in trouble. Therefore, they did not fight against these illusory snakes. Even if they could kill them, it was not necessary. Wow! In the beginning, the old ancestor led the way, and everyone kept on rushing out of the encirclement of these illusory snakes. Before long, they rushed out of the encirclement and came to an incomparably huge gap in time and space. "It's here, let's go," the ancient ancestor said. Whoa whoa! Everyone instantly entered this large space-time gap, and began to shuttle in the space-time gap. Time passed slowly, and after a long time, they rushed out from the other end. Everyone, the false snake territory just now is the most dangerous place, and there is no danger behind it. Of course, in the border of the world, anything can happen, so everyone still needs to be vigilant. The ancestor of the beginning reminded. "I'll wait to understand," Shi Xingzu and the others responded. Afterwards, everyone continued on their way, and the journey behind was just boring, but there was no danger. After all, the realm is too big, boundless, and most of the areas are empty, so the possibility of encountering danger is not very large, but many areas are restricted areas for the 10 realm level controllers. Once they enter, it's easy to get lost. But if the half-step perfect controller leads the way, the possibility of getting lost is still very low. The Sea of Origin, Yi Tian's body is still cultivating here. Although he is on his way to copy his body, he has not wasted any time. The body is constantly improving his own strength. With the passage of time, he mastered all kinds of Taos to the level of billions of changes, forming the imprint of the changes of Tao. And his strength is also constantly improving, but at his current level, it is much more difficult to improve his strength, and there is no way to soar his strength easily. I hope that after reaching the eternal ruins, I can copy many perfect ancestors. Yi Tian said with anticipation. If he copied many perfect ancestors, his growth rate would be terrifyingly increased. In addition, he is also constantly collecting primordial black energy, and then cooperates with the white stone of life to continuously attack the shackles and chains. As long as he breaks the shackles and chains, his strength will still improve a lot. Years go by. Unknowingly, Yi Tian's cloned body followed the ancient ancestors, and they had been on their way for nearly 1 billion years. At this time, they traveled in the world and met some practitioners. "The ruins of eternity are almost here," the ancestor of the very beginning said excitedly. The 10 elements ancestors and the others are also very excited. After all, coming to the eternal ruins means that they will have more room for growth in the future, and hope to become the perfect controller. At this time, the ancient ancestor reminded, "Several, when you arrive at the eternal ruins, you must restrain your arrogance. We are invincible in the Sea of Origin, but not in the eternal ruins. Don't offend or provoke people casually, and try to be as low-key as possible." The 10 elements ancestors nodded. And coming to the eternal ruins, they have to face several choices. "Everyone, after you enter the ruins of eternity, do you choose to become a loose cultivator, or do you want to join the force I am in?" asked the ancestor in the beginning. Primordial Patriarch said. "Old Patriarch, what is your power?" The ancestor of the very beginning immediately introduced. "The force I belong to is called the Blue Pavilion, with a perfect controller, more than 700 half-step perfect controllers, and as many as hundreds of thousands of ordinary eternal controllers." When they heard that the Azure Pavilion had more than 700 half-step perfect controllers, the 10 Xing ancestors took a deep breath. There are only a few people who are the perfect half-step masters of the Source Realm Sea, and there are so many in the Azure Pavilion. How is the strength of the Azure Pavilion in the eternal ruins? Yi Tian asked curiously. The ancestor in the beginning said lightly, "It belongs to the upper middle class." Above average. Yi Tian knew that the strength of the Azure Pavilion was average. Perhaps it was an incomparably terrifying force for the Sea of Origin, but in the ruins of eternity it was just average. Joining such a force, the future is limited, and it is too difficult to become the eternal master. After all, the Azure Pavilion has only been a perfect controller so far, and the other 700 or so half-step perfect controllers are still half-step perfect controllers. Therefore, he will not join the Azure Pavilion. However, his refusal to join does not mean that other half-step perfect controllers are unwilling to join. The true ancestor without me, the ancestor of the world, the ancestor of the Black Emperor, all of them expressed their willingness to join the Blue Pavilion. After all, joining the Azure Pavilion is equivalent to having a backer. Otherwise, if you live in the ruins of eternity as a loose cultivator, who knows what the result will be? In the end, only the original ancestor, the original controller, the 10-line ancestor, the Black Rotten controller and Yi Tian did not join the Azure Pavilion. After a while, the eternal ruins arrived. The original ancestor, the ancestors of the 10 lines, since you are unwilling to join the blue pavilion, let's separate here. I need to bring others to participate in the assessment of the blue pavilion. Taichu Patriarch said. Okay, thank you Teizu ancestor this time. 10 ancestral ways. Afterwards, Taichu Patriarch gave Shixingzu a map of the eternal ruins and a simple introduction to the forces, so that they would not be very confused. The ruins of eternity are very huge and extremely powerful, and the half-step perfect controller will not be excluded here, and even the eternal controller will not be excluded. Master, let's find a place to stay first. Yi Tian suggested. It is good. Ten Xingzu nodded. Afterwards, they discussed it and decided to go to the ancient city of Taming City first. Taming City is open to the outside world, and the Lord of Taming City is a perfect controller, willing to bless all the creatures in the city, but if you want to live in Taming City, you need to pay a certain fee. The Ruins of Eternity has a currency called the Crystal of Perfection, and living in Taming City requires the Crystal of Perfection. Not long after, Yi Tian came to Taming City, and then exchanged a lot of perfect crystals with the treasure resources on his body, and rented a palace here as his residence, and will live here in the future. The primitive ancestors and the 10-line ancestors let their will clones go to investigate the situation, and by the way, they want to join some more powerful forces. But Yi Tian condensed the third duplicate body. That's right, he can continue to copy his body, which is a brand new ability he has after the copy talent is upgraded. In other words, he now has 3 bodies again, and all 3 bodies can condense the will clone, adding up to 6 bodies. With such an ability, as long as he does not die, it is very difficult for him to fall in the eternal ruins. Soon, the cloned body was condensed, and Yi Tian asked this cloned body to find a creature with perfect ancestors. I hope to find a few creatures with perfect ancestors. Yi Tian looked forward. Chapter 1946 2 Perfect Ancestors, copy them. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Yi Tian is looking for creatures with perfect ancestors, and he is not looking for them randomly. He first spent some crystals of perfection to inquire about the information, to understand the situation, and then it was convenient to find the perfect ancestors. After a while, Yi Tian really got some information. There are several very powerful beings in the ruins of eternity, which can grow to half-step perfect controllers. Such powerful beings may have perfect ancestors. Of course, this is not necessarily the case. For example, the illusory snake that Yi Tian encountered before, the other party did not have a perfect ancestor. But if most of a race can grow to the half-step perfect controller level, then this race has a very high chance of having a perfect ancestor. Ouroboros, Ten Shuwu, Unnamed Kun. These are 3 incomparably terrifying creatures that Yi Tian has inquired about. Among them, the Ouroboros has a terrifying devouring ability, and has a terrifying undead ability, and if a Ouroboros does not fall, it can almost grow to the level of a half-step perfect controller, even if it is the top half-step perfect control. It is extremely difficult for a person to kill a title-tailed snake. After all, the recovery ability of the Ouroboros is too terrifying, and for the half-step perfect controller, their bodies are also almost undead. How powerful are the half-step perfect controllers, who can face the attacks of the half-step perfect controllers and show their undead bodies? One can imagine how terrifying their undead abilities are. And Shishuwu is a kind of black with 10 heads. It has the ability of fire to the extreme, and it is extremely fast. It grows to the level of a half-step perfect controller, and its speed is even better than many top half-step perfect. The controller is even faster. The Nameless Kun is also an existence that makes countless practitioners in the Eternal Ruins fear. The most terrifying thing is that once it eats a practitioner, unless it is a perfect controller, it can remember the practitioner's name, otherwise no one can remember the name of this cultivator, which means that the existence of this cultivator has been erased by the Nameless Kun, and even his relatives have been wiped out. His wife can't remember his existence. Any traces of this practitioner in the classics, inheritance and memory will be completely erased, as if he never came to this world. At first, people didn't know the ability of Wuming Kun at all, until the apprentice of a perfect controller was swallowed by Wuming Kun, its ability was exposed. For many eternal masters, they are not necessarily afraid of falling, but they are absolutely afraid that their traces will be erased, leaving nothing behind. Especially those eternal masters who have relatives, once they are swallowed up by the Nameless Kun, all traces are erased, and no one remembers him. How sad it would be. Therefore, the life that people fear most, the unknown Kun, must be ranked in the top few. The Nameless Kun is very difficult to find, but the snake with its tail and the 10-headed crow can still be found. Yi Tian secretly said. In the river of chaos in the eternal ruins, there is a family of snakes with the tail, and the Ten Shuwu is said to be in the land of Blood Sun not far from the eternal ruins. Go to the Chaos River first. Yi Tian decided. Subsequently, Yi Tian went to the River of Chaos, and did not tell Shizen Shixing ancestor. Not long after, Yi Tian came to the River of Chaos. The River of Heavenly Chaos is an incomparably long river in the ruins of eternity. It is longer than the boundary river of the Source Boundary Sea. It runs through many time and space. If ordinary eternal controllers enter, they will not be able to fly out. There are many special and powerful beings in the River of Chaos, and of course there are many eternal controllers who enter the River of Chaos to find resources. According to what he understands, the eternal controllers who dare to enter the River of Chaos are the 7th level controllers. After all, the interior of the Chaos River is also very dangerous. If the strength is too weak, it is too easy to fall. Wow! Yi Tian cast instant shadow and directly entered the River of Chaos. Boom! The power of the River of Chaos collapsed, making Yi Tian feel the slight pressure, which was the pressure from the River of Chaos heaven and earth. Soon, Yi Tian got used to the suppression of heaven and earth here, and it had almost no effect. Although the Ouroboros is in the River of Chaos, Yi Tian is not sure where it is in the River of Chaos. Look for it slowly, there is a talent for copying, it shouldn't take long to find the Ouroboros, I just hope it really has a perfect ancestor. Yi Tian muttered. Subsequently, Yi Tian is constantly traversing the River of Chaos, and he does not deal with other eternal controllers or half-step perfect controllers. Once he encounters it, he avoids it to avoid any trouble. Time passed slowly, Yi Tian found many areas of the Chaos River. At the speed of his blink, the speed of exploring the area is very fast. Finally, on this day, Yi Tian's copying talent sensed the existence of the Ouroboros. I found it, and it actually has a perfect ancestor. Moreover, what makes Yi Tian extremely excited is that this tidal snake has 2 kinds of perfect ancestors. Perfect level ancestral Fu, devouring. Perfect ancestor Fu, indestructible. Yi Tian saw these 2 kinds of perfect ancestors, and naturally, without saying a word, copied them directly. Soon, the perfect level ancestor's swallowing and the perfect level ancestor's immortality were all copied by Yi Tian. However, he did not leave immediately. He also wants to copy the perfect ancestors of other Ouroboros, even if he can't merge them into higher talents, he can bestow these perfect ancestors to his relatives. Therefore, even if it is the same talent, he will not dislike it. This area is the area where the Ouroboros likes to stay, so Yi Tian found more than a dozen Ouroboros and copied their perfect ancestors one by one, but did not attack them. This day, Yi Tian's copying talent suddenly sensed an incomparably terrifying perfect ancestor, as if he was like the terrifying powerhouse of White Bone Abyss. Comparing to the level of the perfect controller, the snake with the tail, no money is good, no wonder no one dares to come here to hunt the snake with the tail, it really has a backing. Yi Tian exclaimed. He inquired about the Youth daily, but there was no such perfect controller level Ouroboros, which showed that the situation was accurate. Time to go, Yi Tian muttered. The other party seemed to have found him too, but did not attack him. However, if he continues to stay here, who knows if there will be problems. So, Yi Tian quickly cast instant shadow and left. Not long after, Yi Tian returned to taming City Fox. Immediately, Yi Tian began to fuse the devouring and immortality of the perfect level ancestors, turning them into his own perfect level ancestors. Boom! A burst of pain struck, and soon these 2 perfect ancestors were successfully merged by Yi Tian. In this way, in addition to copying talent, Yi Tian now has 3 perfect level ancestors, and the foundation has become stronger. Chapter 1947 No Taoist Pagoda. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Although Yi Tian now has 3 perfect level ancestors, he is still not satisfied and wants to copy more perfect level ancestors. Go and copy other perfect level ancestors. Yi Tian decided. Then, he came to the place of Blood Sun outside the eternal ruins. The land of Blood Sun is not an ordinary place. It is an absolute forbidden place for many eternal controllers, because the land of Blood Sun is full of a terrifying force called the power of Blood Sun. The power of Blood Yang, the body in control will be burned to ashes by the power of Blood Yang. Without the strength of a 9-level controller or above, it is impossible to survive in the land of Blood Sun. However, Ten Shuwu can easily survive in the land of Blood Sun, which is like their paradise. Therefore, in the land of Blood Sun, it is difficult for even a 10-realm level controller to beat the 10 Shou that is comparable to a 10-realm level controller. Of course, there are still many 10 realms level eternal controllers who dare to enter the land of Blood Sun. There is a very scarce resource in the land of Blood Sun, called Blood Sun Golden Grass. This Blood Sun Golden Grass helps to temper the body of control. However, the primitive level control body in the original source realm is not called this name in the eternal ruins. After all, it is the name given by the primitive ancestors. In the ruins of eternity, such a body of control is called a body of half-step perfect control. If there is enough Blood Sun Golden Grass, it can even raise the half-step perfect control body to the extreme. However, the Blood Sun Golden Grass could not help the half-step perfect control body improve to the level of the perfect control body, so it couldn't attract the top half-step perfect controllers, and 983 couldn't attract perfect controllers. But there are too many eternal controllers and half-step perfect controllers in the eternal ruins, so there are many strong people here. Along the way, Yi Tian encountered many 10 realms level controllers and half-step perfect controllers. Soon, Yi Tian entered the land of Blood Sun. As a 10-realm level controller capable of competing with a half-step perfect controller, after Yi Tian entered the land of Blood Sun, although his strength was suppressed, the impact was not too great. There are many powerful creatures in the land of Blood Sun, and the 10 Shou was the most famous one and the most powerful one. Subsequently, Yi Tian was looking for the traces of Shishuwu in the land of Blood Sun, and occasionally encountered other powerful beings, but he did not fight with them, and tried his best to avoid them. According to the information, there should be a lot of 10-headed crows in the land of Blood Sun, so I should be able to find 10-headed crows easily. Yi Tian murmured. Sure enough, how long it took Yi Tian to sense the 10 Shou with his copy talent. Hey, Shishuwu actually has two kinds of perfect ancestors. Yi Tian was a little surprised. Moreover, these two perfect level ancestors did not overlap with his three perfect level ancestors. Perfect ancestral Fu, Liang. Perfect level ancestral Fu, escape light. The perfect level ancestor Fu Liang belongs to the perfect level ancestor of the fire type, while the escape light belongs to the speed type perfect level ancestor. Copy. Yi Tian copied all these two perfect level ancestors in an instant. Subsequently, Yi Tian is constantly looking for the traces of 10 Shou in the land of Blood Sun, and once he encounters it, he will directly copy the perfect ancestors of these 10 Shou. This day, Yi Tian no longer looked for Shishuwu, and left the land of Blood Sun directly. Afterwards, after he returned to Taming City, he directly began to integrate the two perfect ancestors, Liang and Evaporating Light. Soon, the two perfect level ancestors were all successfully integrated. The nameless Kun is not easy to find, so I won't look for it now. With these 5 perfect level ancestors, my growth rate will be very fast. Let's create a few more perfect level control skills. Yi Tian planned. In the following years, Yi Tian began to practice ascetic, creating perfect control skills. At the same time, Yi Tian was constantly learning about the ruins of eternity, and exchanged some of his own resources for treasures suitable for enhancing the body in control and the will of the metamorphosis. However, he is still not rich enough, so he cannot exchange much resources to improve himself in a short time. Time passed slowly, and before you knew it, millions of years passed by. In the ruins of eternity, the longer time unit is the eternal year. According to Yi Tian's estimation, an eternal year is roughly equivalent to 1 million years of the world river. Thus, Yi Tian's retreat this time is only equivalent to the passing of several eternity (CJFI) years. This day, Yi Tian finally created another perfect control technique. This perfect control technique, which he named the domain of devouring, was created with the help of devouring perfection level ancestors. It can devour all things to enhance the body and physical quality of control, thereby enhancing strength. That is to say, this body of perfect control can make Yi Tian's physical quality incomparably stronger, and the body of control is getting stronger and stronger, which is the perfect control skill to assist cultivation. Of course, the domain of devouring can also be used for battle. Once the domain of devouring is formed, it is the power to devour the enemy and suppress the strength of the enemy. For it is a complete massacre. After creating the devouring domain, Yi Tian's strength also improved a bit. And at this time, Yi Tian also felt that he was very close to the half-step perfect controller. In the ruins of eternity, there is a standard for whether it is a half-step perfect controller. For example, the body in control has reached the level of a half-step perfect controller, or the will has reached a half-step perfect controller. One of these two, that is, the half-step perfect controller. And Yi Tian's combat power is terrifying, but neither his body nor his will has reached the half-step perfection level. According to the current understanding, the standard for each person to achieve half-step perfect control of the body or half-step perfect will is different, but the higher the potential of the 10-realm level controller, the harder it is to become a half-step perfect controller. The strength will far exceed the average half-step perfect controller. Yi Tian muttered. Therefore, he is not in a hurry to hit the half-step perfect controller realm. This day, Shizhen Xixing ancestor came to Yi Tian. Master, Yi Tian said respectfully. Yi Tian disciple, I have learned that a top force is about to recruit members for the teacher. These top forces have almost no shortage of members, and they will only be recruited once for a long time, so this time is an opportunity. Xixing ancestor said excitedly. Oh, which force? Yi Tian was curious. No Wei Tower. 10 ancestral ways. Wu Dao Pagoda, turned out to be this ancient force. Yi Tian is not a Xiaobai who just came to the eternal ruins and doesn't understand anything, he now also has an understanding of the eternal ruins. Forces like the Azure Pavilion can only be ranked third in the ruins of eternity, and the Wu Dao Pagoda is undoubtedly the first rank and one of the 9 most powerful forces in the ruins of eternity. The Wu Dao Pagoda has very strict requirements for recruiting members. There are even perfect controllers who want to join the Wu Dao Pagoda, but the Wu Dao Pagoda does not. As for how powerful the Wu Dao Pagoda is, Yi Tian is not clear, but it is absolutely terrifying, far surpassing the power of the Blue Pavilion. Master, do you want to participate in the assessment of the Wu Dao Pagoda? Yi Tian asked. Me, let's try it, but I guess there is no hope. Shi Xingzu said. However, even if I can't enter the Wu Dao Pagoda, I also have other goals. Afterwards, Yi Tian and Shi Xingzu continued to learn about the Wu Dao Pagoda, such as the Wu Dao Pagoda's recruitment assessment, but the requirements for each assessment were different, so there was no reference. Finally, after waiting for a period of time, the assessment of the Wu Dao Pagoda is about to begin, and the place of the assessment is the Wuju city under the Wu Dao Pagoda. And Yi Tian, Xixing ancestor and He Shu controller all came to Wuju city and signed up to participate in the member assessment of Wu Dao Pagoda. Chapter 1948 Killing the Ink Demon with One Blow, the Surprise of the Perfect Controller. Open black lens bracket full ord. A city without distance. There are a lot of 10-level controllers and half-step perfect controllers gathered here, some of them are here to watch the fun, and some of them are here to participate in the assessment of the Wu Dao Pagoda. After all, once you become a member of the Wu Dao Pagoda, you will have a big backer in the future, and the future is infinite. As for whether you can become a member of the Wu Dao Pagoda, how will you know if you don't try? Therefore, some weak half-step perfect controllers or 10-level controllers, dare to give it a try. In the depths of time and space in the city of no distance, 2 figures stand here, and all the time and space around them are frozen. They seem to be the most perfect existence. A breath can crush the endless time and space, and let the body of the half-step perfect controller collapse. They are the perfect controllers from Wu Dao Pagoda, and they are also the 2 examiners responsible for the recruitment of Wu Dao Pagoda members. There are a lot of cultivators who came to our Wu Dao Pagoda this time. After all, our Wu Dao Pagoda is very powerful, ranking among the 9 most powerful forces in the Eternal Ruins, and it took a long time to recruit members. Naturally, there are very few practitioners who want to enter the Wu Dao Pagoda, but the number is a little more than last time. Most cultivators have little room for improvement, and recruiting them is a waste of resources. First, more than 99% of cultivators must be eliminated. What method should we use this time to test? This time, it can be roughly divided into 2 levels, the 10-level controller and the half-step perfect controller. These 2 levels have different strengths, so naturally they can't use the same method. So, the 10-level controller will let them enter the Ink Demon world. Whoever kills an Ink Demon can complete the goal. As for the half-step perfect controller, throwing it into the Blood Rain world and killing a Blood Demon ancestor can pass the test. That's it. Anyway, at their level, almost all of them have Will clones. Even if they die, they will only lose a bit more, and they won't really fall. Soon, Wu Dao Pagoda announced the first round of assessment methods this time. When the 10-realm level controllers learned that they were going to enter the Ink Demon realm to hunt an Ink Demon, they were immediately stunned. Isn't the requirement too high this time, to kill an Ink Demon? This is too difficult, I give up, I don't want to die, even if it is a clone of the will, I don't want to fall. 1. Yeah, this request is too difficult, the power of the Black Demon is too powerful, comparable to the top 10 realm level controllers, and it is difficult to kill. More importantly, the Black Demon is a gregarious life, and the speed of support is very fast. Hurry up, once surrounded by many ink demons, the top 10 realm level controllers will all fall. Can we join forces too? If we join forces to kill Momo, that's fine too. Hehe, join forces. If you really kill an ink demon, who will you give it to first? If you give it to someone, what if the other party leaves the ink demon world directly? Unless someone who is very familiar with trust is worthy of trust, otherwise forget it. I'm leaving. Anyway, there are very few controllers who joined the Wudao Pagoda. I originally wanted to rely on luck, but the first round of assessment turned out to be based on strength, so let's go. In a blink of an eye, many 10 realms level controllers left. And the half-step perfect controller is also panicked. Let us enter the Blood Rain world. It's too dangerous. The Blood Rain world is a forbidden place known as the half-step perfect controller. The blood demon ancestor beasts in it are too difficult to kill. In the Blood Rain world, in such an environment, it is almost impossible to kill. I have always known that Wudao Tower's recruiting members are very demanding, but I didn't expect it to be so demanding. Forget it, I'm not going to participate in the assessment. Many half-step perfectionists have given up. The 10 Elements ancestor was also dumbfounded. He knew that he had no hope of passing this test. His strength was considered to be very powerful among the few half-step perfect controllers in the Sea of Origin. That is too weak. I'll give up too. Shixing ancestor came to Yi Tian and said, Yi Tian disciple, I have given up participating in the assessment of the Wudao Pagoda. Yi Tian nodded and did not persuade him to say anything. After all, if the master went to participate in this assessment, the possibility of the will clone falling was too great. Moreover, this is only the first round of assessment. Shixing ancestor has no hope. But the Black Rotten controller did not give up the assessment of the 10-level controller, he wanted to give it a try. Soon, katakana middle dot ask for flowers. A space-time channel appeared in the city of no distance. At this time, a perfect controller appeared. As soon as the other party appeared, it attracted the attention of countless practitioners. Everyone, I am the master of Blood Li of the Wudao Pagoda. This time I am in charge of recruiting members. In the first round of assessment, you need to enter the Black Demon realm. Whoever brings a Black Demon corpse out will pass the assessment. Remember, don't cheat. The Lord of Blood Li introduced. Yi Tian used his copy talent to spy on the Lord of Blood Li at the moment, but the other party did not respond. Obviously, after the copy talent was upgraded, even the perfect controller could not perceive it. It's a pity that he doesn't have a perfect ancestor. Yi Tian secretly said. Subsequently, a 10-realm level controller came to the Black Demon realm through this space-time passage. As soon as they entered the Black Demon realm, all the 10-realm level controllers were transported to different areas and could not resist. Obviously, this is what the Lord of Blood Li did to prevent them from joining forces for the first time. Of course, they can also come together, but the Ink Demon world is also very dangerous. It is very likely that if they do not meet, they will encounter many Ink Demons. After Yi Tian entered the Ink Demon world, he immediately sensed the situation around him with his copy talent. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to perceive the existence of Ink Demons, and not one, but dozens of Ink Demons. These Ink Demons are black and purple, very ugly, but they are very fast, so they exude a black and purple aura, which can erode time and space. Swish, Yi Tuntian fought, and immediately straightened the blade, on the body of an Ink Demon. In an instant, the vitality of this Ink Demon was shattered by Yi Tian, and immediately turned into a corpse. Immediately, Yi Tian put away the corpse of the Ink Demon. At this time, what Yi Tian didn't know was that the Lord of Blood Li from the outside world was watching here and sensed the situation here. Killing an Ink Demon with one blow, this 10-realm level controller has the strength comparable to a half-step perfect level controller, an absolute monster. There should be hope to become a member of our Wudao Pagoda. The Lord of Blood Li murmured. Chapter 1949 Talent Value. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. After killing the Ink Demon, Yi Tian contacted his senior brother Heisho. After all, it is also appropriate to help senior brother Haixi if you can. After contacting senior brother Haixi and confirming the location of senior brother Haixi, Yi Tian immediately cast a flashing shadow to shuttle over. Trouble. The Black Rotten controller frowned. He encountered 8 Ink Demons, each of which was a little stronger than him, and together the 8 Ink Demons were enough to kill him. Of course, it will take a long time to kill him, after all, he is not weak. However, he didn't even think about passing the first round of the Wudao Pagoda's assessment. It's too difficult to join the Wudao Pagoda. I'm afraid it's impossible now, or I have to practice for a long time in the Eternal Ruins. Maybe there is still hope to join the Wudao Pagoda in the future. The Black Rot Master secretly said. Just when, 983, he was about to give up, a figure appeared. Little junior brother. The Black Mortal Controller was surprised. Then, an even more shocking scene happened. I saw Yi Tian slash the body of an ink demon with a knife, and directly beat the ink demon into a state of being seriously injured and dying. Senior brother Heisho, hurry up and kill this ink demon. Yi Tian said. Thank you little brother. The Black Rotten Controller quickly thanked, and immediately shot and killed the severely wounded and dying ink demon. Immediately, he put away the corpse of the ink demon. At this moment, he was extremely shocked. He is very clear that the younger brother has not made a full shot, such as the perfect body has not been displayed. It is conceivable that once the little junior brother makes a full shot, it is enough to instantly kill an ink demon. Little junior brother is many times stronger than before. The Black Mortal Controller sighed secretly, and was also stimulated at the same time. Both are 10 realms level controllers, why is the gap between them so big? Senior brother Hixi, let's go out. Yi Tian said. The Black Rotten Controller nodded. Afterwards, they kept on shuttle, sensed the passage of time and space, and returned to the City of Infinity. Time passed slowly, but there were very few 10 realm level controllers who successfully killed the Momo. After a long time, the first round of assessment is over. Some of the 10 level controllers who are still in the Black Demon realm have not yet killed a single ink demon, and even some 10 level controllers who are hiding and want to find leaks, was eliminated directly. And soon after, the assessment of the half-step perfect controller also ended. However, the assessment over there is governed by another perfect controller, which has nothing to do with Yi Tian. Soon, the Lord of Blood leaving announced the results. There are 1,566 people who have passed the assessment among the 10 realm level controllers this time, and the rest of the 10 realm level controllers have all been eliminated. You can leave, the Lord of Blood Li announced. What, only so few people passed the test? Many 10 realm level controllers were extremely shocked. There are more than 1 million 10 realm level controllers who came to participate in the assessment this time, but only 1,566 people passed the assessment. And this is only the first round of assessments, who knows what assessments will follow, and there are definitely not many 10 realm level controllers who pass the final assessment. Subsequently, the Lord of Blood Li brought more than 1,000 masters of 10 realms to a palace in the City of Infinity. There is an incomparably large stone mirror in this palace. At this time, the Lord of Blood Li introduced. This is the perfect treasure, the talent mirror. It has only one function, that is, it can test your talent value. The talent value is determined by your talent. If the talent is average, the talent value will be very low. The talent value represents potential to a certain extent. For example, if some eternal controllers have a lot of control level ancestors, the talent value will be very high. Even if such eternal controllers are slightly weaker, there is also great potential. 1. Lord of Blood Li, what is the talent value to pass this round? A 10 realm level controller asked curiously. 1,000 talent value. The Lord of Blood. Soon, a 10 realm level controller went up to test it. The talent value is 289. The Lord of Blood Li read out the numbers on the talent mirror and said. Obviously, such a talent value is very low. The talent value is low, but he can become a 10 level controller, which means that the 10 level controller can reach this level by relying on countless resources and endless years of practice, and it does not mean that he is really evil. Lord of Blood Li, this is unfair, my strength is also very strong, why do I have to ask for talent values? The 10 realm level controller said unconvinced. Roll. The Lord of Blood Li waved his hand and directly moved the opponent away and threw it into an unknown place. Immediately, the Lord of Blood Li said, although the talent value is low, it is still possible to become a half-step perfect controller, and even if the luck is against the sky, there is hope to become a perfect controller, but how many resources are needed? Wu Dao Tower does not want to cultivating cultivators with such a low talent value is not a philanthropist, and naturally only recruits cultivators with a high talent value. Moreover, if you are not satisfied with this assessment requirement, you can leave. The Wu Dao Pagoda does not require it, it is you who want to join. Wu Dao Pagoda, not Wu Dao Pagoda begging you to join, understand? After finishing speaking, the Lord of Blood Li asked many 10 realms level controllers to continue the test. At this time, the Black Rotten controller was very nervous. In the first round, Yi Tian could still help him, but in this round he couldn't help him, he could only rely on himself. In fact, Yi Tian can also help him, just throw him a perfect ancestral gift, and that's it. However, it is impossible for him to expose his talent. After all, the Black Rotten controller is not his family, so he will not be so stupid. As for whether the Black Rot Master can pass this round, it depends on the Black Rot controller himself. The talent value is 598. Talent value 1029. 1. The talent value is 888. 1 by 1 10 realm level controllers went up to test, but there are too few 10 realm level controllers who can reach the talent value of 1000. After a long time, it was finally the Black Rot Master's turn. He walked up to 5.8 very nervously, touched the talent mirror with both hands, and started the test. Boom! The talent mirror emits light, and a number appears on it. The talent value is 1006. The Lord of Blood leaving announced. Seeing this number, the Black Rotten controller breathed a sigh of relief. His luck was not bad, and he barely passed the second round of assessment. The Black Rotten controller passed. Yi Tian was naturally very pleased. It seems that the talent of the Black Rotten controller is not bad, and the talent of the master should also be very good, but unfortunately, the foundation of the original Sea of Origin is poor, so the combat effectiveness is not strong. Yi Tian secretly said. Soon after, it was Yi Tian's turn. He walked up very calmly. He knew very well that once he tested it, his talent value would definitely shock everyone, even the Lord of Blood Li, but in order to join the Wudao Tower, the exposure would be exposed. Chapter 1950 shocked everyone, join the Wudao Tower in advance. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. In front of the talent mirror. Yi Tian put his hands on it and saw the talent mirror flickering, and soon a number appeared on it. And as soon as this number appeared, everyone was stunned, and the Lord of Blood Li was dumbfounded, stunned for a while, and did not announce Yi Tian's talent value. After a while, he came back to his senses. You test again. The Lord of Blood Li said. He wondered if the talent mirror was wrong, otherwise how could there be such an outrageous talent value? No problem. Yi Tian took the test again. Soon, the talent mirror came up with a number that was exactly the same as the previous number. It was the same for both tests, and he had to believe it. Moreover, he also knew that a perfect treasure like the talent mirror was unlikely to go wrong. The talent value is 106,988. The Lord of Blood leaving announced. Everyone is stunned, the talent value of more than 100,000. Isn't it impossible? The talent value of other 10 realm level controllers is only a few 129, and very few can break through 1000. His talent value exceeds 100,000, how is this possible? A 10 realm level controller who did not pass the assessment was stunned. The Lord of Blood Li said, the talent mirror is a perfect treasure, you can't go wrong, the next one. In fact, the Lord of Blood Li had already had some guesses in his heart. According to his understanding of the talent mirror, if you have a perfect level ancestor, the talent value can directly exceed 10,000, and with one more perfect level ancestor, the talent value can be increased by 10,000. And Yi Tian has a talent value of more than 100,000, which means that Yi Tian has more than a few perfect level ancestors. In addition, Yi Tian himself has a lot of control level ancestors, which can reach a talent value of 100,000. However, a 10 realm level controller has several perfect level ancestors, which is too enchanting. As far as he knows, since the eternal ruins jumped to the world like today, many special beings with perfect level ancestors have indeed been born, but at most they have 2 or 3 perfect level ancestors. In short, it was the first time he had encountered a cultivator whose talent value exceeded 100,000. Yi Tian can kill the black demon with one blow, his own strength is terrifying, perhaps his talent value has really reached such a level. The Lord of Blood leaving secretly. Immediately, he reported the situation to the top of the Wudao Tower. Soon, news came. Directly recruit Yi Tian, no need to continue the test. This is a communication from the top of the Wudao Tower. Subsequently, the Lord of Blood Li arranged for the other 10 realms level controllers to conduct the next round of assessment, and an avatar left here with Yi Tian. Yi Tian, you don't need to participate in the follow-up assessment, now Wudao Pagoda officially invites you to join. The Lord of Blood Li said. Don't you need to take the exam? Yi Tian was naturally overjoyed, and nodded immediately, agreeing to join Wudao Pagoda. The incarnation of the Lord of Blood Li immediately took Yi Tian to the Wudao Pagoda. The Wudao Pagoda is relatively far away from the city of no distance, and it is located in an independent time and space. Time warp. Soon, Yi Tian followed the Lord of Blood Li to an independent time and space, where he saw a towering giant tower, and countless giant towers stood in this space and time. The Lord of Blood Li pointed here and said, This is the headquarters of the Wudao Pagoda, the land of Wudao. There are many practice towers in the Wudao land, and each practice tower is a sub-tower of the real Wudao Pagoda. It has many special effects and is very suitable for practice. What level of weapon is the Wudao Tower? Yi Tian asked curiously. Super perfect treasure. 1 inch. The Lord of Blood leaving introduced the road. Yi Tian knew that perfect treasures were divided into low, medium, high and super perfect treasures were undoubtedly the most powerful perfect treasures. However, he only knows that the perfect treasure is very powerful, but he is currently unable to touch it. After all, the perfect treasure is almost always in the hands of the perfect controller. Let's go, I'll take you to the number 6 tower of the Wudao Pagoda, which is a place for new members to go through the formalities of joining the Wudao Pagoda. After completing the process, you can get a sub-tower and put it in the Wudao Pagoda as your own cultivation place. As long as the main body stays in a place without Dao, even those incomparably powerful perfect controllers can't kill you, and no means can do it. This is also the reason why countless practitioners want to join the Taoist Pagoda. Of course, there are very few perfect controllers, so don't provoke them, otherwise the power of the Wudao Pagoda will not be able to bless you, said the Lord of Blood Li. Subsequently, Yi Tian and the Lord of Blood Li came to the 6th tower. Here, the Lord of Blood Li had someone go through the formalities for Yi Tian to join the Wudao Pagoda. Subsequently, Yi Tian obtained a sub-tower of the Wudao Pagoda. Although it is only a sub-tower, its grade is second only to perfect treasure. The Wudao Pagoda contains a lot of time and space, which can allow perfect level controllers to practice moves, and if they practice here, the speed of absorbing energy will be very fast, and it will also have the effect of improving understanding. In addition, the Wudao Pagoda branch tower is also connected to the Wudao Pagoda body, and you can browse through many secret techniques stored in the Wudao Pagoda, etc. Yi Tian Jiadao Pagoda also received a lot of treatment at the beginning. Moreover, Wudao Pagoda gave Yi Tian a maximum of 983 encounters this time. For example, some resources that can improve the body and will of control, these resources are good things that can hardly be found in the Sea of Origin, but they are directly given here as rewards for new members. For Yi Tian, there is another benefit of joining Wudao Pagoda, that is, he can comprehend the perfect treasure, Perfect Dao Mountain. Perfect Road Mountain is a perfect treasure presented in the form of a mountain, and ranks among the ranks of medium perfect treasures. Staying on top of the Perfect Dao Mountain to comprehend the changes of the cultivation path can speed up the speed of comprehension. For example, many practitioners of the Wudao Pagoda can master 1 billion changes in one Dao, which is the effect of the Perfect Dao Mountain. Of course, Yi Tian can only practice and comprehend the 100,000 eternal era for free at the Perfect Dao Mountain. After exceeding the 100,000 eternal era, he will need a certain degree of contribution before he can continue to comprehend. The contribution degree requires tasks, which is also the case for every force. For example, a force cannot selflessly contribute resources without doing anything. It also gives some benefits at the beginning, and in the later stage, you have to help the forces to do things in order to obtain more resources. The 100,000 eternal era is also a very long time. First, send a will clone to the Perfect Dao Mountain to practice, and then copy the body to refine resources here, and improve the body and will in control. Yi Tian planned. Chapter 1951 Advance by leaps and bounds. Perfect Road Mountain. Yi Tian's will clone came here. At this time, there are many practitioners practicing, almost all of them are half-step perfect controllers or above. And the cultivation is the same anywhere in the Perfect Dao Mountain, so Yi Tian found a platform, sat cross-legged, and began to comprehend the cultivation. Boom! Endless comprehension and spiritual light appeared in front of Yi Tian, and the countless changes of Dao in the void manifested, allowing Yi Tian to fully comprehend. Here, Yi Tian continued to comprehend the changes of various ways, and quickly mastered various changes, which was many times faster than usual practice. It's too easy to master the changes of the Dao, Yi Tian said in shock. Of course, there is also the reason for the affinity of the Dao. Even in the ruins of eternity, the affinity of the Dao is an ability that is incomparable to the sky. With the help of Perfect Dao Mountain, Yi Tian quickly mastered one kind of Dao change to a billion, forming the imprint of Dao's change. Years go by, there are more and more change marks on Yi Tian. Plus, 20 kinds, 30 kinds, the dense change marks gathered on Yi Tian's body, representing his heritage and strength. However, no matter how much he comprehends the imprint of the change of the Dao, it will not let him enter the realm of a half-step perfect controller, but it can improve his strength. With the increase of many change marks, Yi Tian's strength is much stronger than in the past. And he also knew about the situation of senior brother Heisho. He had to say that senior brother Heisho had a very good luck. He reluctantly joined Wudao Pagoda, but instead of becoming a member of Wudao Pagoda directly, he became a reserve member. The reserve members are not currently members of the Wudao Pagoda, and will be arranged to be trained somewhere. After 1 million eternal era, they need to be assessed again. If they pass again, they can enter the Wudao Pagoda. If you pass the assessment, you can enter the affiliated industries and forces under the Wudao Pagoda. For many 10 realm level controllers, even becoming a reserve member is enough. After all, there will be no more than 20 10 level controllers who can directly enter the Wudao Pagoda. And this moment, in the Wudao Tower, several perfect controllers are sitting here, and the Lord of Blood Li is reporting the situation below. These are all perfect controllers far beyond the Lord of Blood Li, and they are the real high levels of the Wudao Pagoda. At present, the situation of the practitioners who joined the Wudao Pagoda has been investigated. Except for Yi Tian, other practitioners are very easy to check. As for Yi Tian, it is not a practitioner of the eternal ruins, it should be from other eternal places. The Lord of Blood, it doesn't matter if they come from other eternal places. Many forces in the eternal ruins have practitioners from other eternal places. Yi Tian can focus on and cultivate, and if there is any opportunity in the future, he can be given priority. Yi Tian's talent is indeed very enchanting, but don't overtrain it, letting him walk his own path is the most important thing. Shui Li, from now on Yi Tian will be your responsibility. Several senior officials said one by one. Yes, the Lord of Blood Li responded. Years go by. After a long time, Yi Tian has condensed hundreds of imprints of change on his body, and his body is already extremely terrifying. At this time, it is much more difficult for him to condense more imprints of the change of the Tao. And Yi Tian's will and body of control are improving. For example, the Wudao Pagoda has many treasures that can help break the shackles and chains. In the Sea of Origin, the Eternal Master can use the cursed black stone and the white stone of life to break the shackles chain, while Yi Tian can use the original black gas and the white stone of life to break the shackles and chains. But in fact, these are just two of them. In the ruins of eternity, the shackles chain from the source of the body of control is called the chain of control. As long as the body of control is raised to a certain level, and the 36 chains of control are broken, a half-step perfect body of control can be formed, thus becoming a half-step perfect controller. Certainly, in eternal ruins, breaking the control chain is very difficult. But there are many treasures here to help break the control chain, so the difficulty is reduced a lot. For example, the black gold of the extreme path and the water of the white shadow, if these two materials are combined, they can quickly break the control chains one by one. And Yi Tian bought some extreme black gold and white shadow water. He has already broken 33 control chains, and he is only short of 3 shackles chains, and he can become a half-step perfect controller. However, Yi Tian also knew from the Wudao Pagoda that the most perfect way to break through is to break 35 chains of control, and increase the will to the level of half-step perfect will. At that time, directly break the 36th control chain and half-step perfect will at the same time, and the 2-in-1 method enters the realm of half-step perfect controller, so that the strength of the improvement is the largest. I must break through to become the half-step eternal master in the most perfect way. Although the Wudao Pagoda is almost all half-step perfect controllers and perfect controllers, my cultivation is almost the lowest, but I can't be impatient. Yi Tian secretly said, in the Sea of Origin realm, it is very difficult to improve will, especially at his current level, it is almost difficult to improve a little will. But in the ruins of eternity, it is not difficult to raise the will. For example, there is a secret technique in the Wudao Pagoda that can help improve the will of the metamorphosis. This secret technique is the void transformation technique. The variety blind transformation technique uses a variety of imprints of changes to create a virtual world, allowing one's own will to follow the frequency of the changes little by little among the many changes in the virtual world, thereby causing a resonance of the will. Will resonance is also a kind of tempering of the will, and the effect of tempering is very fast. It can be said that the variety blurry art is very precious, even if it is said in half, it is still very expensive. Originally, in the Wudao Pagoda, only the half-step perfect controller has the authority to practice the variety blurry art, but Yi Tian has received the attention of the Wudao Pagoda, so the authority is the same as the half-step perfect controller and can naturally practice 100 times. Change the virtual fox. In these years, the reason why he has been comprehending the changes of Tao is also preparing for the variety blurry art. In a word, 100 kinds of change imprints of Dao are only the minimum requirements of variety blind transformation, and Yi Tian has mastered hundreds of Dao transformation imprints, which is enough to easily practice void transformation. On this day, Yi Tian began to practice the variety void art, and it didn't take too long to successfully practice the variety void art. This moment, Yi Tian knew very well that he was not far from the day when he broke through to become a half-step perfect controller. Chapter 1952 Prepare for the breakthrough and leave the gold liquid. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Yi Tian used the void transformation technique, all kinds of Dao intertwined in the void and turned into a virtual world, and the changes of many Dao gradually gave rise to more mysterious changes. At the same time, Yi Tian's will of formation realm was also continuously integrated into the realm of void formation. Dong dong dong. Under the operation of the void transformation technique, Yi Tian's will resonated with the virtual world, and under the resonance the will also underwent resonance quenching. What a wonderful secret technique, you can even temper your will in this way. Yi Tian was very surprised. In the Sea of Origin, where can there be such a secret technique? Of course, even in the ruins of eternity, the average half-step perfect controller can't obtain the variety buffing technique, and even if he does, he can't practice the variety blinding technique. Time passed slowly, Yi Tian's will continued to improve, and there were some treasures that could improve the variety void art, which made Yi Tian's will increase faster. Years go by. In the blink of an eye, 10,000 eternal years passed. This day, Yi Tian's will has finally risen to the peak of the will of the metamorphosis realm, and is about to enter the realm of half 983 step perfect will. Finally, I have reached the limit of the will of the metamorphosis realm, even if it is a master, it has not reached this realm. Yi Tian secretly said. He knows that the master and the primitive ancestor have raised the body of control to the body of half-step perfect control through various methods, and have not achieved half-step perfect will. After all, in the Sea of Origin, it is more difficult to raise the will than to control the body, as long as there is no good way to raise it. For the time being, I can't continue to practice the variety blurry art. I strive to break 2 more chains of control, and then I can go to the realm of a half-step perfect master. Yi Tian planned. In the following years, Yi Tian tried his best to buy the 2 treasures, the black gold and white shadow water, but the value of these treasures was too expensive. After joining the Wudao Pagoda, the contribution value of the reward was completely exhausted. That is to say, he has no way to buy more black gold and white shadow water for the time being. As for collecting it by yourself, it is a waste of time, and the places rich in black gold and white shadow water are almost occupied by major forces. Therefore, if he searches for it himself, he can hardly find much. CJFI, you have to earn some contribution points, and then use the contribution points to buy from inside the Wudao Tower, this is the fastest way. Yi Tian thought to himself. Therefore, Yi Tian inquired about the task of the Wudao Pagoda through this Wudao Pagoda sub-tower. Tasks that are too time-consuming, he won't do. For example, some tasks often cost millions of eternity years. The eternity of the ruins of eternity is too long, and it is 1,000,000 times larger than the time unit of the Jhe year in the Source Realm Sea. Therefore, millions of eternal years are simply too long for him, and he has never cultivated for such a long time. Therefore, he will not do such a time-consuming task, it is a complete waste of time, and it is only suitable for those cultivators who have been unable to progress for a long time. Yi Tian flipped through the tasks one by one, and most of the tasks were not suitable for him. After a long time, Yi Tian took a fancy to a task. Collect stray gold liquid. The reason why this quest is suitable for him is because many 10-level controllers are afraid to collect them, and half-step perfect controllers are unwilling to collect them. It is not worth it at all. The golden liquid is located in the Golden Light Realm. This place is a special world in the Eternal Ruins. Although the area is not large, it is very dangerous. The key is that the perfect controller will be rejected. Of course, the perfect controller can forcibly enter, but it needs to contend with the origin of the entire Golden Light Realm, which is completely unnecessary. The wandering Golden Light world only allows half-step perfect controllers to enter, but there is a terrible wandering golden thread in the glazed Golden Light world. This kind of stray golden thread runs through the stray Golden Light world. Even if the half-step perfect controller is cut, it will be cut into countless pieces in an instant, and it cannot be recovered, and the half-step perfect control body will collapse and fall. Practitioners who enter the wandering golden light world will almost always encounter this kind of wandering golden thread, and the probability of being killed is too great. Whether it is a 10-level controller or a more powerful half-step perfect controller, they only dare to let the will clone in. But once the avatar of the will falls, it cannot be recovered for a long time, and the loss is not small. Compared with the loss of the will clone, the loss of the will clone may be greater, so it is not cost-effective. Moreover, if the will clone falls many times, it will also affect the will. Therefore, few practitioners dare to enter the golden light realm, which also causes the value of the golden liquid to remain high. As for the role of the liquid gold, the mission didn't say it, Yi Tian simply checked the information and knew its role. Liquid gold liquid can improve the half-step perfect control body. Yi Tian understood its value. The half-step perfect control body of the half-step perfect control person can also continue to improve, until it reaches the perfect control body, so the treasures that can improve the half-step perfect control body are extremely expensive. Among them, the value of the glazed gold liquid is naturally very expensive, and even the Wu Dao Pagoda needs the glazed golden liquid very much, and this is why the long-term task is released. Other practitioners of the Wu Dao Pagoda are definitely not willing to stray from the golden light realm, but I'm not afraid. I can also copy the copy body, and let the copy body pass. The big deal is that the copy body falls, I continue to condense, and the price to pay is not big. Yi Tian thought to himself. Then, he left the Wu Dao Pagoda and went to the golden light realm. The area where the golden light realm is located is blocked layer by layer, and not all practitioners are eligible to enter. Only a few forces in the eternal ruins can enter. After all, the golden liquid is also a precious resource, and naturally it will not give some small forces or loose cultivators try their luck to steal it. Yi Tian is a member of the Wu Dao Pagoda. After he took out the order of the Wu Dao Pagoda, no one dared to stop him. Thus, he came out of the golden light realm very easily. Let's start. Yi Tian quickly condensed a duplicate body, and then let this duplicate body condense the will clone. In this way, two bodies appeared. Afterwards, the two bodies entered the golden light realm. As long as there is some gain, Yi Tian is ready to come out, and then go in, so that he can ensure that he can continuously obtain the liquid gold. As for the copying of the body and the will clone, the fall will also fall, which is not a problem. After entering the golden light realm, the cloned body and the will clone began to go crazy, looking for the whereabouts of the golden liquid. The stray gold liquid is scattered all over the stray golden light world, and it is indeed not easy to find, but as time goes by, you can definitely find a lot. Soon, Yi Tian's replica body found a drop of stray gold liquid. Chapter 1953 Breakthrough, Half-Step Perfect Controller. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. This drop of liquid gold is as big as a fist, but it is one drop. And it is suspended there at the moment, waiting for people to collect it. Call out. Yi Tian easily took this drop of liquid gold, and immediately left the golden light realm. He didn't want that after a while, this replica body was unlucky and scrapped, causing this drop of gold liquid to disappear. The liquid gold doesn't move all the time, it can move, and once it moves away, Yi Tian has to look for it again. Therefore, as long as he finds the liquid gold, he will try his best to leave the golden light world and send the liquid gold out first. Soon, Yi Tian obtained the golden liquid, and the cloned body entered the golden light world again. But on that side, the luck of the will clone is not very good. It's the stray golden thread. Yi Tian noticed that there were abruptly scattered golden threads all around, and it was also cutting towards him at an incredible speed. The speed of the flow of gold wires is very fast, and there are also a lot of them. Yi Tian tried to travel through time and space to leave, but there were countless projections of stray golden threads in many time and space, and even if he was the perfect control technique, there was no way for him to escape. Sure enough, it is difficult to escape from the stray golden thread. If it can be easily avoided, those 10 realm level controllers and half-step perfect controllers have come in frantically to find the stray gold liquid. Yi Tian secretly said, "Perfect body, swallow the sky and fight." 1. The domain of devouring. Yi Tian tried every means to resist these stray golden threads. However, all is useless. The domain of devouring can't devour these stray golden threads at all, nor can it affect them at all. And the swallowing body and the perfect body can't compete with the floating golden thread, and the body that is in control is easily broken by the floating golden thread. Next moment, Yi Tian's will clone shattered and fell directly. The avatar of the will has fallen, and the luck is not very good. A drop of the golden liquid has not been found. If it is another 10-level controller or a half-step perfect controller, I am afraid that I will be depressed to death. Such a loss, few people are willing to take it. 1. Yi Tian secretly said. With the passage of time, the cloned body found one drop after another of the displaced gold liquid, but after finding 8 drops of the displaced gold fluid, the cloned body also encountered the displaced gold thread, and was killed by the displaced gold silk. Start cohesion and copy the body again. Yi Tian immediately began to slowly condense and replicate the body, gathering the energy and resources around, and soon condensed a replica body, and this replica body condensed the will clone again. Soon, two bodies formed again. Woohoo! The cloned body and will clone entered the golden light realm again, looking for the golden liquid. In the following years, Yi Tian entered the golden light fluid again and again like this, and once the cloned body fell, it would recondense the cloned body. In this way, the stray gold liquid in Yi Tian's hands became more and more. However, the number of miles of stray gold liquid in the golden light realm is also limited. The value of the stray golden light realm is that it can be continuously born out of stray gold liquid. In addition, there are usually cultivators who enter the golden light realm, so the number of miles away from the golden light realm is not too many. After harvesting tens of thousands of stray golden light liquid, Yi Tian struggled to find stray golden light liquid, and often fell several times without finding a drop of stray golden light liquid. In this way, Yi Tian is equivalent to losing money. That's it for the time being, I'm no longer worth living in the golden light realm. 1. Yi Tian immediately returned to the Wudao Pagoda. After returning, Yi Tian immediately went to submit the task. Of course, he didn't submit all the tens of thousands of drops of stray gold liquid, but only hundreds of drops of stray gold liquid. After all, stray gold liquid is extremely rare. If he took out tens of thousands of drops at once, there would be a problem. What's more, the flow of gold liquid is of great help to him, so he also wants to keep some. However, even if only a few hundred drops of liquid gold were taken out, the female half-step perfect controller who was in charge of the task handover from Wudao Pagoda stared at Yi Tian with wide eyes. You have obtained so much stray gold liquid. She was astonished. More importantly, Yi Tian is obviously still the master of the 10 realms, so he dared to enter the golden light realm and obtain so much golden liquid, which can only be described by luck. Soon, the task handover was completed. Yi Tian obtained a lot of contribution points, and then used these contribution points to buy a lot of black gold and white shadow water. So many polar black gold and white shadow water, enough for me to break all 36 control chains. Yi Tian estimated. Immediately, he began to announce the retreat and practice. This time, those who did not break through the half-step perfect control would never go out. After all, in the ruins of eternity, the half-step perfect controller is the new beginning of cultivation. The 10-level controller is still too weak. There is almost no status in the ruins of eternity. Only those who are in perfect control can be regarded as middle-level practitioners. For flowers, time passed slowly. Yi Tian continued to consume the black gold and the water of the white shadow, madly attacking the control chain. On this day, Yi Tian broke another control chain, that is, the 34th control chain. Then, after a long time, Yi Tian once again broke the 35th control chain. At this time, he only needs to break the 36th control chain, and he can completely step into the realm of a half-step perfect controller. Come on, it's time to raise your will and try to break the control chain at the same time. You can ensure that you can instantly break the will limit and the 36th palm empty chain at any time, and you can officially enter the perfect control section. Oh, Yi Tian calculated. Before you know it, hundreds of eternity years have passed. Finally, on this day, Yi Tian's will of the metamorphosis realm is only a line away from the half-step perfect will, and it can be broken at any time, and the 36th control chain is also shaky, as if it will shatter in the next second. Almost, you can hit the half-step perfect controller realm. Before the breakthrough, Yi Tian opened the law formation of the Wudao Pagoda's sub-tower, and absorbed the source energy of the eternal ruins through the Wudao Pagoda. This is also a function of the Wudao Pagoda, which can easily break the realm. Boom! Infinite source energy pours in. The other practitioners of the Wudao Pagoda knew that a member was attacking the half-step perfect controller, but they didn't care. After all, it was just a small matter, and it was not worthy of their attention. Break me! Yi Tian shouted inwardly. Click! The 36th control chain was broken, and the body of control stepped into the half-step level of the body of perfect control. At the same time, Yi Tian's metamorphosis will also broke the limit and entered the half-step perfect will. As the will and the body of control have stepped into the half-step perfection level, the power of control in Yi Tian's body has also undergone a fundamental transformation, turning into a half-step perfection. Boom! The endless source energy was absorbed by Yi Tian, prompting his transformation. Every second, Yi Tian's strength increased. At this moment, Yi Tian's aura became stronger and more terrifying. Corpse. Chapter 1954 The Capital of Bloody Battles, the opportunity given by the Wudao Tower. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. After a long time, boom, Yi Tian completely broke the shackles and was promoted to the half-step perfect controller realm. Whether it is the body in control or the will, it has been promoted to the half-step perfect controller realm. However, in the Sea of Origin, Yi Tian did not choose to break through. After all, once he breaks through, he will be repelled by the Sea of Origin. Anyway, he can make the main body break through at any time, so he is not in a hurry. This little guy has broken through to the half-step perfect controller realm. In a sub-tower of the Wudao Pagoda, the Lord of Blood Li looked at the sub-tower where Yi Tian was, and muttered. He is not surprised by Yi Tian's breakthrough. After all, in his opinion, Yi Tian's combat power is comparable to that of a half-step perfect controller. Now his cultivation base has broken through to a half-step perfect controller. Isn't this a very normal thing? 0. The high level of the Wudao Pagoda said to take care of Yi Tian. Just as he has broken through to the half-step perfect controller realm, he can go to that place. The Lord of Blood Li murmured. Immediately, he went to Yi Tian in person. Soon, he came to Yi Tian's Wudao Pagoda, and Yi Tian received him personally. I have seen the Lord of Blood Li. Yi Tian bowed his hands respectfully. Yi Tian, it's a good thing for me to come to you this time. The Lord of Blood Li said. Good thing, Yi Tian was looking forward to it. I saw the Lord of Blood Li. Have you heard of the capital of Blood War? City of Blood War? Yi Tian shook his head, he had never heard of such a place. Yi Tian did not know the opinion of Blood Li, but he felt that it was normal. After all, even in the ruins of eternity, only a few half-step perfect controllers knew the capital of bloody battles. And Yi Tian came from other eternal places outside the ruins of eternity. It wasn't long before he came to the ruins of eternity, and he had never heard of the capital of bloody battles, which was quite normal. Then, the Lord of Blood Li introduced. The Blood War is a place specially used to cultivate half-step perfect controllers. It is jointly built by dozens of forces. Anyone who has entered the Blood War capital as half-step perfect controllers, as long as they don't fall. In the future, nearly 1/3 of the practitioners hope to become the perfect controller. 1/3 of half-step perfect masters have hope of becoming perfect masters. Yi Tian was very surprised. This ratio is too high. How difficult it is to become a perfect controller. Many forces, such as the Azure Pavilion, have so many practitioners, but there is only one perfect controller. And if you enter the capital of bloody battle, as long as you don't die in the future, you have a 1/3 chance of becoming the perfect controller. What a great chance! It is conceivable that countless half-step perfect controllers want to enter the bloody capital. Of course, the half-step perfect controllers who are eligible to enter the bloody capital are the kind of half-step perfect controllers with high talent, otherwise they are not eligible to enter. Lord of Blood Li, what is the situation in the capital of bloody battle, can you tell me? Yi Tian asked. The Lord of Blood Li nodded slightly, and immediately introduced. The capital of Blood War is located in a special area, not the Eternal Ruins, but a place far away from the Eternal Ruins, where it is difficult to enter, and there are many perfect controllers. There, you will get a lot of training, but any training needs to rely on your own strength and opportunities, so the competition is fierce. At the same time, this is also a kind of struggle between forces. Of course, entering the bloody capital, there are also the possibility of falling. Although you all have a will clone, once you fall, your practice will fall, so try not to let the will clone fall. The capital of bloody battle controls many special resource treasures, and only allows half a step of the capital of bloody battle the perfect controller enters. Every cultivator who enters the capital of bloody battle can practice 100,000 eternal years in the capital of bloody battle. Although 100,000 years is not long, the capital of bloody battle is mainly a place to lay the foundation. As long as it is in the capital of bloody battle with enough benefits, the hope of becoming the perfect controller in the future will be much greater. Here is some information about the bloody capital, you can check it out. 1. The Lord of Blood Li condensed a mass of information light and gave it to Yi Tian. After Yi Tian accepted it, he quickly learned a lot about bloody battle. Afterwards, the Lord of Blood Li left and applied for Yi Tian to go to the capital of Blood War. This time entering the bloody war is an opportunity. After becoming a half-step perfect controller, the resources on my body will be useless except for the liquid gold. The speed of cultivation will become very slow in the future, but I have entered the bloody war. After the capital, my growth rate will be very fast. Yi Tian secretly said. However, it would take an extremely long time for him to become the perfect controller. After all, he has just broken through to the half-step perfect controller. This is just the beginning of the half-step perfect controller. Those who are at the top of the half-step perfect controller even have a combat power that is very close to the perfect controller. Instantly killing an ordinary half-step perfect controller is far from comparable to ordinary half-step perfect controllers. And he also knows the division between half-step perfect controllers. In the Eternal Ruins, half-step perfect controllers can be divided into 4 realms: ordinary, top, peak, and extreme. Among them, the half-step perfect controller of the extreme creation realm is powerful enough to match the real perfect controller. The strength is extremely terrifying. Even in the Eternal Ruins, such half-step perfect controllers are extremely rare and rare. In the Ruins of Eternity, the most perfect half-step controllers are the ordinary half-step perfect controllers. The top half-step perfect controllers are not too many, and the number of half-step perfect controllers at the peak level is even smaller. But it must be after becoming the peak half-step perfect controller, before there is any hope of hitting the perfect controller. As for creating a perfect half-step master of the extreme realm, few people pursue this realm, it is too difficult. When I was a 10-realm level controller, I had a combat power comparable to that of an ordinary half-step perfect 5.9 controller. Now I have broken through to the half-step perfect controller's realm. Has the combat power reached the top half-step perfect controller's combat power? Yi Tian guessed. However, he couldn't figure it out either. However, Wu Dao Tower still has a place to test this kind of combat power, so by testing it, you can roughly judge which combat power level you are in. Then go to test your strength first, so that you can have a better understanding of your own strength. Anyway, it will take some time to enter the bloody capital, so there is no need to worry. Subsequently, Yi Tian entered a time and space of the Wu Dao Pagoda body through the Wu Dao Pagoda's sub-tower. This time and space is specially used for testing the combat power, and there is a combat power tower here. Not only the half-step perfect controller can enter here, even the perfect controller can enter here to test their combat power. Chapter 1955 The Misty Snake Surrounding the Capital of Bloody Battle. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. The first layer of the battle tower corresponds to the normal half-step perfect controller's combat power, the second layer corresponds to the top half-step perfect controller's combat power, and the third layer corresponds to the peak half-step perfect controller's combat power. As for the 4th floor, once you have crossed it, you will have the combat power of a half-step perfect controller, or you will have the combat power of a perfect controller. Wow! Yi Tian came to the 1st floor of the battle power tower, and soon a cultivator appeared in front of him. As long as his strength was comparable to the opponent's and he did not lose, he would have the combat power of the 1st floor of the battle power tower. Immediately, Yi Tian displayed his perfect body, swallowed the sky and fought against the opponent with all his strength. In a blink of an eye, he used the Wan Dao blade to inflict heavy damage on the opponent, and easily passed the 1st floor of the battle power tower. Subsequently, Yi Tian came to the 2nd floor of the battle power tower, and another cultivator condensed out. Although this cultivator is not a real cultivator, his strength is comparable to that of a top half-step perfect controller. At the very least, Yi Tian needs to work hard with the opponent, or have the strength to crush the opponent, to be considered a top half-step perfect controller. Wow! The battle has begun. This cultivator held a sword that pierced through billions of time and space, focused on a single point with the power to shatter everything, and instantly knocked Yi Tian into the air. What a terrifying power! I have a perfect body of 29, and I have practiced swallowing the sky and fighting body, and my strength is not as good as the opponent. Yi Tian was surprised. Immediately, Yi Tian found that the opponent's control body was stronger than him, his will was stronger than him, and the perfect control skills he displayed were also much stronger than his. It can be said that the opponent is not as many as him except for the change of the Tao, and almost all other aspects are crushed. And at his current state, the physique of the Mountain of Devouring is almost useless, and the domain of devouring will be broken open by the opponent. Therefore, soon, Yi Tian has a tendency to lose. Yi Tian didn't continue the fight, and chose to admit defeat and left the battle power tower. At this time, Yi Tian already had a clear understanding of his own strength. Looks like I'm still a long way from being the perfect half-step master. 1. Yi Tian thought to himself. After all, he was only fighting against the weaker top half-step perfect controller, and he couldn't beat such an opponent. However, among ordinary half-step perfect controllers, he is almost invincible and can completely crush them. Subsequently, Yi Tian began to sort out the practice experience and start the next way of practice. First of all, the control chain still needs to continue to be broken. According to what he currently understands, it is many times easier to break the control chain among the half-step perfect controllers, but there are many chains of control, about 3,000 or so. Therefore, he needs to constantly break the chains of control, and each time he breaks one more, his strength will increase slightly. In addition, the variety blindness technique needs to continue to practice and improve one's half-step perfect control will. Moreover, he also needs to constantly comprehend the changes of Tao, and strive to master more changes of Tao to more than 1 billion kinds. Of course, he has to create more perfect control skills, and after mastering enough perfect control skills, he can try to create top perfect control skills. At that time, he can definitely rank among the top half-step perfect controllers in combat power. After a period of time, on this day, the Lord of Blood Li came to inform Yi Tian that he could go to the capital of Blood War. Outside the ruins of eternity, Yi Tian shuttled continuously with the Lord of Blood Li, and soon came to a place. Here, Yi Tian sensed an area surrounded by mist. In an instant, Yi Tian's expression changed. Lord of Blood Li, this mist is an incomparably powerful life, isn't it? Yi Tian asked. Hey, Yi Tian, you actually recognized it. You must know that even those incomparably powerful peak half-step perfect controllers don't know that this mist is a creature, they just think it's a weird mist. This is a perfect control. The secrets that only readers know, I didn't expect you to see through it at a glance. The Lord of Blood Li was surprised. If there is no copying talent, Yi Tian can't actually see through the mist. Under the shroud of replicable talent, he actually sensed the talent situation from the fog. What is this, not a creature? Open black lens bracket mist snake close black lens bracket. This is the name of this fog. Covering such a huge area, it turned out to be a creature, which is countless times larger than the largest creature Yi Tian has seen before. The Lord of Blood Li, such a huge creature, is definitely comparable to a perfect controller. Establishing a bloody capital in such a place is a bit, Yi Tian said solemnly. Ha ha ha, Yi Tian, you are overthinking it. This mist is the snake of the mist, although its strength is much stronger than mine, it has been subdued and signed an agreement with several of our major forces, so it will not attack you. Will even protect you. Of course, you must have a contract order before you can enter, otherwise you will be blocked by it. The reason why I choose this place is that it is very special. After entering, you will know it. The second reason is that the fog, the mist in the snake's body can temper a half-step perfect will. This is an excellent place, and it will not attack you. Where to find such a good treasure? I see. Yi Tian understood a little. Subsequently, the Lord of Blood Li took out a grey contract token. Next moment, an unimaginably huge misty vortex emerged, directly swallowing the Lord of Blood Li and Yi Tian. After a flash, they came to another void. We're in. The Lord of Blood. After another shuttle, they came to the capital of Bloody Battle. The capital of Bloody Battles is located on an incomparably huge mountain, and this mountain is very extraordinary. Before Yi Tian entered this mountain, he felt the unimaginable pressure. The pressure here even distorted time and space, and the Tao was about to collapse. However, it is not an ordinary pressure. When it is suppressed by 000, it can also temper the body of control. This mountain can temper our body of control. Yi Tian was surprised. Yes, the Lord of Blood Li said. This mountain is called Jundao Mountain. The most terrifying place in Jundao Mountain can't even bear the perfect controller, and the place where the bloody battle is located is the half-step perfect controller. A place that can be tolerated. In addition, Jundao Mountain has many treasures. When this Jundao Mountain was discovered, it caused the killing of many perfect controllers. The fallen perfect controllers alone exceeded 3 digits. In the end, the major forces joined forces to occupy this place and formed the capital of Bloody Battles, which solved the trouble. Soon, Yi Tian followed the Lord of Blood Li to the capital of Blood War, and the Lord of Blood Li went through the check-in procedures for Yi Tian, and Yi Tian officially became a member of the capital of Blood War. In the next 100,000 eternal years, he can practice here and enjoy many benefits, but he also has to face many competitions. Soon after, the Lord of Blood Li left. After all, the Lord of Blood Li was not the perfect controller of the bloody capital, so he couldn't stay here for more. And Yi Tian also got a place to live, officially living here. The first time, Yi Tian was not a practice, nor was it a treasured place to go to the capital of Bloody Battles, but a perfect ancestral gift from the Snake of the Mist. That's right, that incomparably terrifying mist snake also has a perfect ancestor, and there are more than one, but now it's all his. Chapter 1956 The Bloody Battle List, the rapid progress, shocked everyone. Open black lens bracket full order close black lens bracket. Perfect level ancestral Fu, atomization. Perfect ancestor Fu, phantom. Perfect level ancestral Fu, beam killing. These are the 3 perfect level ancestors possessed by the mist snake. Among them, the slaughter belongs to the perfect level ancestors of restraint and killing, while the atomized perfect level ancestors can be turned into special mists, thereby offsetting the attack. Phantom perfection ancestry belongs to illusion class perfection ancestry. If these three perfect ancestors are combined together, it is enough to make the mist snake very terrifying. Fusion. Yi Tian merged these three perfect level ancestors one by one, and quickly turned these three perfect level ancestors into his own perfect level ancestors. These three perfect level ancestors are indeed very good, but the real value is to assist in comprehending perfect control skills, and to create top perfect control skills in the future. If there is no perfect level ancestor, it is too difficult to create a perfect level ancestor, and if you have a perfect level ancestor, the difficulty will be many times smaller. I just came to the capital of the bloody battle to have such a harvest, and it really came right. Yi Tian thought to himself. Subsequently, Yi Tian took a look at the blood battle list. The Blood War ranking is a special ranking list in the Blood War capital, which represents the progress. Just enter the blood battle list, and the speed of progress is 0. At this time, he must be at the bottom of the blood battle list, and the higher the list is, the more resources and rewards you will get, which makes every half-step perfect controller crazy to attack the higher ranking of the blood battle list. And the progress of every half-step perfect controller cannot be concealed from the blood battle list, because the blood battle list itself is not an ordinary list, but a kind of perfect treasure, and it is a high-level perfect treasure. In the capital of bloody battle, the progress of any half-step perfect controller cannot block the bloody battle list. Therefore, don't even think about showing a small part of your strength first, and then showing your full strength, pretending that you are making rapid progress. It doesn't make any sense. The 386th place in the blood battle list. Yi Tian muttered. Obviously, there are very few half-step perfect controllers who are eligible to enter the capital of bloody battles, and even the Wudao Tower does not have many places in the capital of bloody battles. And Wudao Pagoda actually gave him the quota directly, which is enough to show that the top of Wudao Pagoda attaches great importance to him. Soon, the first batch of resources from the Bloody City was distributed to Yi Tian. These resources include treasures that enhance half-step perfect will, half-step perfect control body, and access orders to enter some specific treasures. After all, the capital of bloody battle has mastered many treasures of cultivation, but it is not limited to Jundao Mountain. However, Yi Tian is not in a hurry to go to those cultivation treasures, one by one. After all, each cultivation time has a set time limit. If you want to cultivate for a longer time, you must have a high enough ranking. Refining these resources first, the will clone will go to the mist snake to practice first. Yi Tian decided. The mist in the mist snake's body can assist in tempering the half-step perfect will, so it is an excellent practice environment. If you practice at the beginning, the effect will be very good, that is, the effect will decrease after a long time of practice, until there is no effect. And the half-step perfect controller who just came here, all suggest to practice in the body of the misty snake. This is the first place to go to practice treasure. Wow! Yi Tian's will clone quickly shuttled, left from the bloody battle capital, and headed for the snake of the mist. From the capital of bloody battle, going into the body of the mist snake will not be blocked by the mist snake, and the other party doesn't care about the half-step perfect controller level little bug, because it has no effect on itself. Of course, if a perfect controller wants to stay in its body, it will definitely not do it. The most suitable place for cultivation in the mist snake is its 7 inches, where the mist is the most dense, and it is also a natural best treasure. Practitioners in the city of bloody battles almost always come here to receive the will of the mist. After all, the tempering effect here is better than other areas, so the half-step perfect controllers will naturally come here to practice. Soon, Yi Tian came to the 7-inch place of the mist snake, where the time and space were distorted very much, and he had to endure the suppression from the mist snake itself. Many half-step perfect controllers are a problem in this area, but they don't know that this is from the coercion of the mist snake. Now, Yi Tian stood here and sensed all around, and sensed the will clones of more than a dozen half-step perfect controllers, all of whom were practicing here. Afterwards, Yi Tian also began to practice Variety Void Art. Yi Tian used this secret technique to cooperate with the practice. Boom! The tempering of the mist, coupled with the assistance of the Variety Blurry Art, Yi Tian's half-step perfect will progressed very quickly. Time flies. Yi Tian's half-step perfection will increase rapidly, and half-step perfect control will also increase rapidly. Yi Tian even took out the liquid gold for refining in order to quickly improve his strength. With so much stray gold liquid in his hands, even the perfect controller can't take it out. Once it's all refined, the half-step perfect control body can be imagined to what extent. Therefore, he can definitely quickly improve his ranking in the blood battle list. In the blink of an eye, 100 eternal years passed. Not only that, Yi Tian's body was not idle either. He learned the perfect control skills in the Sea of Origin, and also created several perfect control skills. For example, the perfect control technique of the body type that can be used in combat, Fog Body. The Fog Body not only has terrible speed, but also has the effect of counteracting attacks. Another example is the perfection of Shadow Thorns skill. This perfect control skill condenses time and space to the extreme, and cooperates with the power of killing this perfect ancestor to become countless time and space thorns. When the enemy is bound, it also penetrates the enemy, that is, it is also a very trick to hide the depths of time and space. There are other perfect control skills. The effect is very powerful. After possessing so many perfect control skills, Yi Tian's strength has also increased a lot. However, his strength still did not cause a qualitative change. Although it was infinitely close to the top half-step perfect controller, it should still be a little bit worse. But his progress on the bloodbath list has attracted the attention of many half-step perfect controllers. When he first came to the capital of bloody battles, Yi Tian was ranked 386th on the bloody battle list. At this moment, he was already ranked 336th on the bloody battle ranking, and he improved by 50 places all at once. You must know that the half-step perfect controllers who can enter the bloody war capital are very evil, and Yi Tian has surpassed so many half-step perfect controllers in only 100 years of the blood war capital, which really surprised them. All of a sudden, many half-step perfect controllers were inquiring about Yi Tian. And Yi Tian also attracted the attention of the high-level officials of the capital of bloody battle. These high-level leaders are all perfect controllers from the major top forces, and naturally there are also perfect controllers of Wudao Pagoda. Chapter 1957 Create the top perfect control skills, the strength skyrockets. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. In the capital of bloody battles, in a deep void, there are many thrones, and there are many stalwart figures sitting here, all of which are perfect controllers. Recently, a very good half-step perfect controller has come to the capital of bloody battles. In just 100 eternity years, he went from the last to the 336th place in the bloody battle list. He seems to be a member of the Wudao Pagoda. It is indeed a new member of my Wudao Pagoda, not bad. This is more than good, it's simply too evil. It's just 336. It's not that there was no progress in the past, but the half-step perfect controller who made little progress in the later stage. Some half-step perfect controllers have obtained amazing treasures, and they don't use them on purpose until they enter the bloody battle. After the capital, this is used, which creates the illusion of great progress. Therefore, we don't need to pay too much attention at the moment. If he can reach the top 10 in the 10,000 eternal years, it is worthy of our attention. Yeah, there is no point in making rapid progress in the early stage, and how many amazing half-step perfect controllers have not finally stepped into perfect controllers. You guys are just jealous, just wait and see. My Yi Tian, who has no Taoist pagoda, can definitely progress as fast as 1. Subsequently, these perfect controllers did not continue to discuss Yi Tian. In the following years, Yi Tian was still making steady progress, but the speed of progress was not as fast as before. You still have to create a top perfect control skill. Yi Tian secretly said. So, he prepared one of the cloned bodies to concentrate all his strength to comprehend the top perfect control skills, while the other cloned bodies and will clones practiced other aspects. In this way, time flies, and 1,000 eternal years have passed. At this time, Yi Tian had broken 128 control chains, and with the help of the golden liquid, his body of control had reached the half-step perfect control body of the minor level. And his perfect physique has already reached the perfect state, but this physique is no longer suitable for him. After all, it is just watching the secret technique created by a perfect controller when he was weak, and it is nothing. In addition, Yi Tian has mastered more than 800 billion changes of Tao, and the speed of progress can be described as very fast. As for the perfect control skills, Yi Tian also created a few more doors, which can be regarded as providing direction and foundation for creating the top perfect masters. Finally this day, Yi Tian created a top perfect control technique, which was created with the help of many perfect ancestors. This perfect control technique is the Wandao Blade, which was created by the perfect control technique Wandao Blade, thus banning the previous Wandao Blade and becoming Yi Tian's most powerful top perfect control technique at present. After creating the Wandao Blade, Yi Tian's strength ushered in a huge transformation. At this moment, Yi Tian has truly stepped into the top half-step perfect controller's combat power, and he is not the weakest kind. At the same time, Yi Tian's progress was known by the blood battle list, so his ranking instantly surpassed many half-step perfect controllers. The 112th place in the blood battle list, Yi Tian, the endless controller. This is Yi Tian's current ranking. When Yi Tian reached this ranking, many people were shocked. How is this possible? Yi Tian actually reached the 112th place on the blood battle ranking. How long has he been on the blood battle ranking, and the speed of progress is so fast? According to the information I have heard, Yi Tian should have just broken through to the half-step perfect controller before he came to the capital of bloody battle. According to his ranking, it can be calculated that he is now the top half-step perfect controller. In a little over 1,000 years of eternity, from just breaking through to a half-step perfect controller, it directly stepped into the top perfect controller. This kind of improvement is too scary. Which one of the top 100 on the Blood War ranking is not a monster who has practiced over tens of thousands of eternity years on the Blood War ranking? He came to the capital of Blood War for such a short time, so he has such a ranking. CJFJ, he is too evil and terrible. The difference between the top 100 in the Blood War ranking is not big, and according to his speed of progress, he might really be able to become the number one on the Blood War ranking before the 100,000 Eternal Era. The first place in the Blood Battle list is indeed possible. However, many half-step perfect controllers thought that Yi Tian had used a lot of opportunities in the capital of bloody battles, but in fact Yi Tian had never used a few opportunities at all. After becoming the top half-step perfect controller, Yi Tian is ready to take advantage of the opportunity in the bloody capital. Let's go to the Black Desolate River in Jundao Mountain first. Yi Tian decided. The Black Desolation River is undoubtedly one of the best opportunities for Jundao Mountain. Once you enter the Black Desolate River, your body will be tempered by the Hay Delirium River all the time. The deeper the Black Desolation River, the better the tempering effect. With Yi Tian's current record of the 112th place in the blood battle list, he can stay in the Hailong River for more than 100 years of eternity, which is also the reason why he entered here so late. In this way, he can practice here for a long time, thereby greatly improving his half-step perfect control body, and his strength will also be greatly improved. Yi Tian came to the Black Desolation River, and the oppressive Black Desolation River seemed to have turned into an endless black air current, and it was like an endless abyss, crushing the time and space of the ages. Yi Tian stepped into the Hayway River, and continued to deepen, and the endless pressure hit, and the power of the Hayway River continued to pour into his body of control, frantically tempering his body of control. Of course, the pressure he was under was incomparable. Soon, Yi Tian came to a place where the Black Desolation River was incomparably deep, and it was also very close to his limit. Just practice here. Yi Tian decided. Boom. The power of Haywang is frantically tempering Yi Tian's body, and this tempering goes deep into the root, which can help break the chain of control. Kaka. The control chains were broken one by one, and Yi Tian's body of control continued to improve. Eternal years have passed one after another, and Yi Tian's strength is constantly improving. Finally, after spending more than 60 eternity years, Yi Tian finally reached the top 100 in the blood battle list. No Way Tower. The Lord of Blood Leaving received a message from the capital of the bloody battle. Yi Tian has entered the top 100 of the blood battle ranking. This is too fast. The Lord of Blood Li was shocked. He originally thought that at this time, Yi Tian would be able to enter the top 300 of the blood battle list, but he never expected Yi Tian to improve so fast. After all, people entered the capital of bloody battles many years earlier, and the bloody battle list calculates the total progress. How could Yi Tian surpass the progress of tens of thousands of eternity years in such a short period of time? But now, Yi Tian has done it. As expected of a monster with a talent value of more than 100,000. The Lord of Blood Leaving exclaimed. Chapter 1958 Perfect Imprint, 3.3 billion changes. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. Time has passed, and nearly 100 eternity years have passed. Yi Tian's cultivation time in Hailong has come. In fact, at this time, the effect obtained by practicing in the Black Desolate River has also decreased a lot, which is also a limiting factor. Otherwise, it is not normal to keep this effect all the time. At this time, Yi Tian was ranked 86th in the blood battle list, which was also a good ranking. It's time to go to the next treasure. Yi Tian came out of Haywei. After all, the land of bloody battles is a place with many resources and cultivation treasures, which makes many half-step perfect controllers so eager to enter here. Next, the place Yi Tian is going to is Dao Yunhai in Jundao Mountain. Dao Yunhai is a place to assist in understanding the changes of Dao, but it is also a very important place. If a half-step perfect controller wants to become a perfect controller, in addition to raising the control body and will to the perfect level, he must also perfect his own way to the level of the perfect way. Before, Yi Tian didn't know what the perfect way was, but now he does. 33 billion kinds of changes. Once mastered the change of one's own way to such a degree, then one's own way can be transformed into the perfect way, forming a huge transformation, far surpassing the half-step perfect way. 3.3 billion kinds of changes. How difficult is this? Many half-step perfect masters are difficult to master any of the 3,000 ways to 1 billion, let alone 3.3 billion changes, and it's the way of its own creation. Therefore, this difficulty is too great. Many half-step perfect controllers have reached the perfect level whether they are in control of their bodies or their wills. They have also created many top perfect control skills, and their strength has reached the peak of half-step perfect controllers. The ultimate, but due to his own way, he is still unable to attack the realm of the perfect controller. And Dao Yunhai is undoubtedly an incomparably amazing place. It can allow a half-step perfect controller to quickly understand the changes of Dao. Of course, the average half-step perfect controller will not comprehend their own Dao, but will comprehend other Taos. Only when they have comprehended other Taos to a certain extent, will they be able to fully grasp the changes of their own Dao. However, before mastering the changes of many Dao, from 1 billion changes to 3.3 billion changes, the increase in strength will not be too large. Therefore, many half-step perfect controllers are almost the last to enter the Dao Yunhai cultivation. However, Yi Tian is in difficulty now. He has the hope of mastering several kinds of Dao to the level of 3.3 billion kinds of changes. Once he masters one kind of Dao with 3.3 billion kinds of changes, his own imprint of change will be transformed into perfection. Imprint. The strength of the perfect imprint is still very good, so it is worth him to come here to understand the change of Dao. Dao Yunhai. Yi Tian came here. There is still the pressure of Zhen Daoshan, and the pressure is even heavier. The general half-step perfect controller can't come to this position. Because Dao Yunhai's position in Jundao Mountain is deeper than the capital of bloody battle. However, Yi Tian's strength has reached the level of a top half-step perfect controller, so it is not difficult to come here, and it is relatively easy. Dao Yunhai is very small, and Yi Tian's perception is unobstructed. Now, there are about 30 half-step perfect controllers who have comprehended and practiced here, and each of them has integrated into the sea of rhythm, condensing the field with their own strength, and swearing their own cultivation scope. Yi Tian chose an empty area, merged into the Dao Rhyme Sea, and began to practice and comprehend. The sea water of Dao Yunhai actually contains infinite changes of Dao. No wonder this place can allow half-step perfect control people to understand the changes of Dao. Yi Tian said in surprise. And at this time, Yi Tian's Dao affinity ability was too helpful. He sensed the change of Dao here at a speed far exceeding that of other half-step perfect controllers. As expected of Dao Yunhai, the effect is so good. Yi Tian was shocked. He has never seen such a treasured place, and it is of great help to the improvement of Dao's understanding. I have to say that there is no such place in the Sea of Origin, but there is such a place in the Eternal Ruins. If you can practice in such a place, even if you are an idiot, the improvement of the change of Dao will not be slow. First understand the changes in the way of space and time. After all, the way of time and space is the two most powerful ways. The creation and improvement of many perfect control skills are also inseparable from the way of time and space. Yi Tian secretly said. Subsequently, Yi Tian began to fully comprehend the changes in the way of space. Originally, his changes in the way of space reached 1 billion, but after reaching 1 billion, the progress has been very slow. And at this moment, Yi Tian easily grasped one kind of change of Dao. After a period of time, Yi Tian's Dao changes have mastered 1.1 billion Dao changes. Eternal years passed by one after another, and without knowing it, Yi Tian practiced here for 1,000 eternal years. With his current ranking, he can comprehend the 5,000 eternal years here. Finally, on this day, Yi Tian's way of space has mastered 3.3 billion changes. For flowers, and at this moment, Yi Tian's mark of space change began to undergo a drastic transformation. The imprint is transformed and is being transformed into a perfect imprint. The 3.3 billion changes of the way of space circulate in the perfect imprint, and in a short while, the perfect imprint is completely transformed. Whoa, one after another, the power of will is perceived. Obviously, it was the other half-step perfect controllers who sensed Yi Tian's perfect imprint. Who is this, who has mastered the perfect mark of space? It's Yi Tian from the Wudao Pagoda. It's not long since he came to the Wudao Pagoda. Now, what, he has reached the 23rd place in the blood battle list. The last time I saw him, he was still in his 50s. Name, 1 inch. Oh. Yi Tian's cultivation speed is too fast. According to his progress speed, he will definitely become the first place in the blood battle list in the future. It is indeed a monster, and other aspects are not counted. It can be described as good luck, and he has obtained a huge amount of resources, but he can master the perfect imprint of space. This is not a problem of resources, but a problem of understanding and talent. I have to say, Yi Tian is indeed an evildoer, far exceeding my evildoer level. Continue to practice, no matter how evil people are, they are still people. I still practice hard, and strive to hit the top 10 of the blood battle list before the arrival of the 100,000 eternal years. Subsequently, a half-step perfect controller withdrew his will and continued to practice hard. At this moment, Yi Tian is also continuing to practice. After all, he has only mastered a kind of perfect imprint, and he wants to master more perfect imprints. In addition, in this 1,000 eternity years, he has perfected 2 perfect control skills to the level of top perfect control skills. These 2 top perfect control skills are divided into swallowing the sky and fighting body and fog body. That's why he's progressing so fast. Come on, in a few thousand more eternity years, I can reach the top 10 of the bloody battle list. Yi Tian said confidently. On this day, when Yi Tian was practicing, he suddenly found that his ranking had improved by 6 in a short period of time. In this short period of time, he has not made much progress. Why did he suddenly advance 6 places? Taking a closer look, I realized that there were 6 half-step perfect controllers who exceeded the time span of 100,000 eternal years, so they left the bloody battle capital and were naturally kicked out of the bloody battle list. At this time, Yi Tian's ranking came to the 17th corpse. Chapter 1959 Jundao Alien Realm. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. The ranking on the blood battle list has improved, and Yi Tian's cultivation time in Dao Yunhai has naturally increased a lot. At present, Yi Tian can practice in Dao Yunhai for nearly 6,000 years of eternity. In the following days, Yi Tian was here to comprehend other changes in the Dao. Before you know it, another 1,000 eternity years have passed. On this day, Yi Tian finally mastered 3.3 billion changes in the way of time, forming a perfect mark. The formation of the perfect imprint this time also attracted the attention of other half-step perfect controllers. What? Yi Tian has mastered the perfect imprint of time again. How can it be so fast? He just mastered the perfect imprint of space not long ago, he has mastered the perfect imprint of time so quickly. Perhaps he is good at the many changes in the way of time and space. Before he came to the capital of bloody battle, he was very close to 3,000. Even so, Yi Tian is too evil. I just checked, Yi Tian has reached the 10th place on the blood battle list. After entering the capital of bloody battle for thousands of eternity years, it reached the top 10 of the bloody battle list. Such a speed of progress has alarmed the high-level officials of the capital of bloody battle. Soon, the high-level people of the bloody capital gathered together. Some underestimated Yi Tian's potential. I didn't expect him to reach the 10th place on the blood battle ranking after only a few thousand years of eternity. Everyone, Yi Tian from the Wudao Pagoda has entered the 10th place on the bloody battle ranking, so he should be qualified to enter the Taoist immortal realm, right? It is indeed qualified. Any half-step perfect person who has entered the top 10 of the blood battle list has a chance to enter the strange realm of the town. 1. Since this is the case, then I will inform Yi Tian. Shortly thereafter, Yi Tian met a perfect controller of the capital of bloody battle, the Lord of Xuanwang. I have seen the Lord of Xuanwang, Yi Tian said respectfully. He knows that this perfect controller, one of the 10 capitals of the bloody capital, is also a perfect controller of the Wudao Pagoda. His status is much higher than that of the bloodly lord, and he is also one of the high rises of the Wudao Pagoda. As for how powerful he is, Yi Tian is not very clear, but it is definitely far beyond the general perfect controller. Yi Tian, you are very good, you have greatly improved our Wudao Pagoda. This time I came to inform you of a good thing. The Lord of Xuanwang said with a smile. Good thing. Yi Tian was a little puzzled, but also full of expectations. I saw the Lord of Xuanwang said, you broke into the 10th place in the bloody battle list, so you have the opportunity to enter the strange realm of the town. Jundao Alien Realm, what is that? Yi Tian said he didn't know. The Lord of Xuanwang explained. Jundao Alien Realm is a special secret realm time and space in Jundao Mountain, and this time and space is also the most valuable treasure in Jundao Mountain. For example, the perfect treasure, you should know its value, and Jundao Alien Realm perfect treasures will be born, and the best perfect treasures found in the otherworldly realms of towns and roads are high-level perfect treasures. Perfect treasure, so if I enter the otherworldly realm, will I have a chance to find the perfect treasure? Yi Tian was surprised. The value of any perfect treasure is unimaginable, it is much higher than his entire body. Yes, the Lord of Xuanwang nodded. However, the major forces have very strict control over the otherworldly realm, so after negotiation, only the top 10 in the bloody battle list are allowed to enter the otherworldly realm once, and only allowed staying in it for an eternity chronology time, in fact, can only stay for so long. Once this time is exceeded, it will be rejected. Immediately, the Lord of Xuanwang gave Yi Tian a token. This is the Jundao order, you can use it to enter the Jundao Strange Realm. I suggest you enter the Jundao Strange Realm now, because the Jundao Strange Realm is not only perfect, the strange treasure is also a natural cultivation treasure. It contains many good things. Of course, there are some dangers, but the danger is not too big. Every half-step perfect controller enters the different realm area of the town, so you don't worry that the previous half-step perfect controller will take everything inside after entering. Thank you, Lord of Xuanwang. Yi Tian thanked. Work hard, try to reach the first place in the blood battle list. The Lord of Xuanwang said. Then, the Lord of Xuanwang left. And after Yi Tian refined the Jundao order, he sensed a special space-time area, which was located deep in Jundao Mountain. Without such a Jundao order, he would not be able to enter there. Yi Tian urged the Jundao order, and the body merged with the Jundao order, crossed endless time and space, broke through the blockade of Jundao Mountain's power, and entered the Jundao Alien Realm. Come in, Yi Tian muttered. At this moment, he is in an extremely turbid time-space area. The suppression here is stronger than Jundaoshan, but the energy is extremely abundant. Hope to find the perfect treasure, Yi Tian said with anticipation. After all, as long as he finds a perfect treasure, even if it is a low-level perfect treasure, he will earn it. Afterwards, Yi Tian looked for perfect treasures here, and if he found other resources, he would also take them one by one. Needless to say, there are plenty of resources here. In a short period of time, Yi Tian found a lot of resources, although these resources are not very helpful, but if the number is large, it can still improve a little strength. A creature comparable to the half-step perfect controller level. Yi Tian sensed with his copy talent that the opponent's strength was not strong, and it was comparable to an ordinary half-step perfect controller, not Yi Tian's opponent. Soon, Yi Tian approached the other party. This was a creature that looked similar to an ape, with blood-red eyes and a black aura all over his body. In an instant, Yi Tian fought against the opponent. With just a few tricks, Yi Tian used the top perfect control technique Wandao Blade to kill the opponent. This day, Yi Tian found a big purple gold tree, exuding terrifying ability fluctuations, and there is a terrifying giant snake comparable to the half-step perfect controller level. Its strength and life level are no less than the virtual world that Yi Tian once encountered. 5.9 Delusional Snake. Yi Tian killed him after fighting with him for a while. What tree is this? Yi Tian could feel that the inside of the tree contained a very special liquid substance, and it contained powerful and special energy. Puff. Yi Tian cut open the tree body, and a trace of purple gold liquid substance flowed out, which was caught by Yi Tian and collected. Immediately, Yi Tian took a sip. Boom! The terrifying energy poured into the root of Yi Tian's control body, impacting the control chain. Soon, Yi Tian broke through a control chain. This treasure actually helps to break the control chain, and now it is easy to break one. The value of this liquid substance is too good. Yi Tian immediately dug out this giant tree and put it into the void ball. Chapter 1960 A medium-sized perfect treasure. Open black lens bracket seeking full order close black lens bracket. With these purple gold liquid substances, I should be able to break many control chains, and my strength will definitely increase. Yi Tian thought to himself. Afterwards, Yi Tian continued to search for resources and perfect treasures in the otherworldly realms of Jundao. Even in the otherworldly realm, perfect treasures are still very rare, so Yi Tian searched for a long time, but could not find a perfect treasure. However, as time passed, Yi Tian found a lot of resources. This day, when Yi Tian was searching for resources, he suddenly sensed a strong aura. There is a terrifying edge in this breath. Perfect treasure. Yi Tian looked surprised. After searching for so long, I finally found a perfect treasure. Wow! Yi Tian cast instant shadow and passed. Soon. Yi Tian saw a perfect treasure. It was a knife. This knife exudes many changes in the way of the knife, cutting space and time, making people dare not touch it. At this moment, even if it is a 10-realm level controller, if he dares to touch this sword, he will be smashed into nothingness by the power of this perfect treasure in an instant. Yi Tian approached the knife and sensed its breath. It's a low-level perfect treasure. Yi Tian judged it. Although it is only a low-level perfect treasure, its value is still unimaginable. Moreover, such a low-level perfect treasure is also suitable for Yi Tian to display the top perfect control skill Wan Dao Blade. However, if you want to take away the perfect treasure, you must master the corresponding imprint of the change of the Dao. If you master the perfect imprint, you can naturally take it away in an instant. Although Yi Tian did not have the perfect imprint of the way of the sword, he also mastered more than 1 billion changes, and mastered the imprint of changes, so he could still take this perfect treasure. Yi Tian's right hand merged with the imprint of the change of the knife, and many changes of the Dao emerged, grabbing this perfect treasure. Boom! The power of the perfect treasure collided with the power of Yi Tian's change imprint of the blade, but under the guidance of the imprint of the blade, the power of the perfect treasure was quickly suppressed. A moment, Yi Tian completely grasped the perfect treasure and held it firmly in his hands. It didn't take long for Yi Tian to initially take control of this perfect treasure sword and know its name. Blood Blade. The power of the low-level exotic treasure Blood Blade is terrible. Even if Yi Tian completely refines it in the future, he can't completely control it. Use the Blood Blade again. It is said that the lowest person who can really use the perfect treasure for regular battles is the peak half-step perfect controller. Yi Tian murmured. Although he can't make full use of the Blood Blade knife now, he can at least use it as his trump card. Subsequently, Yi Tian continued to search for the perfect treasure and other resources. Time passed slowly, and Yi Tian gained more and more. Before you know it, the day when you leave the otherworldly realm is getting closer and closer. At this time, Yi Tian still wanted to obtain the second perfect treasure, but now it seems that the hope is not so great. Unexpected, Yi Tian's duplicate body sensed a creature. The creature was called Wanyan Tianpeng, and the other party actually possessed 2 perfect ancestral talents. Hey, there are even creatures with perfect ancestral talents in the otherworldly realm of the town, what a surprise. Yi Tian said with a smile. These 2 kinds of perfect ancestors are the perfect ancestors, Glacier and the perfect ancestors, Immunity. Glacier is a perfect ancestral gift of the ice element, and Immunity is a special talent. It can avoid the damage in the body and transfer the damage to the surrounding time and space, so as to ensure that it will not be hurt much. Glacier's perfect ancestry is relatively general, but the immunity of perfect ancestral is very good. Immediately, Yi Tian copied these 2 perfect ancestors. Something's wrong. This Wanyan Tianpeng's aura is too unstable. It is very powerful for a while, and it is very sluggish for a while, and it screams from time to time. This is not right. Is it possible that it is injured? However, it has the immunity of this perfect ancestor. It can be transfer the damage. How can it be unable to recover the injury all the time? With great curiosity, Yi Tian shuttled over to check the situation of this Wanyan Tianpeng up close. Boom! This Wanyan Tianpeng sensed Yi Tian and killed Yi Tian. The opponent's strength is very strong, no less than a top perfect half-step perfect controller, but at this moment, under the injury, he can only exert the strength of an ordinary half-step perfect controller. Boom! Yi Tian fought with this Wanyan Tianpeng, and soon discovered its clue. There is a situation in its body, and it seems that some power is constantly destroying its body. Although it has been using the perfect immunity to transfer damage, it has been unable to recover. 1. Yi Tian saw this and immediately understood how terrifying the contents of this Wanyan Tianpeng were. Because the opponent could not display his strength, Yi Tian easily crushed the opponent. After fighting for a while, Yi Tian finally relied on the Blood Blade to use the Wan Dao Blade, and killed the opponent with 1 blow. After all, the opponent's body is still comparable to the top half-step perfect controller, so it is still somewhat difficult to kill the opponent. Otherwise, Yi Tian would not use the Blood Blade knife. After using the Blood Blade once, Yi Tian consumes a lot, but killing the opponent is still worth it. And after this Wanyan Tianpeng was killed, Yi Tian finally sensed the situation in the opponent's body. It was a white lotus flower with an extremely terrifying aura, far exceeding the Blood blade. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Yi Tian was taken aback, and it was not a low-level perfect treasure, but a medium-level perfect treasure. Obviously, this Wanyan Tianpeng is not very intelligent. It devoured this medium perfect treasure, but couldn't bear the power of the perfect treasure, so it was hurt by the medium perfect treasure all the time. Trouble, I can't take this perfect treasure. Yi Tian frowned. This perfect treasure contains changes in the way of enlightenment. If you want to take away the medium perfect treasure, you must at least master the perfect mark. Of course, if the cultivation base reaches the realm of a perfect controller of the peak half-step, and then masters the imprint of the change of the way of enlightenment, you can also take this medium and perfect treasure. However, Yi Tian can't do it now. Although he can go to comprehend the changes of the way of enlightenment and strive to master the perfect imprint of the way of enlightenment, but the time is too late, and he can't stay in the otherworldly realm for how long. After pondering for a while, Yi Tian finally thought of a solution. I can merge the immunity of the perfect ancestor, and then forcefully swallow this perfect treasure. With the immunity of the perfect ancestor, I will not die. Then, I can take it out. Once I go out, you can slowly comprehend the changes in the way of cultivation and enlightenment, so as to successfully refine and master this perfect treasure in the future. Yi Tian planned. So, he began to fuse the perfect ancestral gift of immunity.